Chapter 1738 Extreme Cruel. Chapter 1738 Extreme Cruel. Several hundred kilometers away. Goddess Sect. The two divine might pangolin frantically wreaked havoc on the ground, causing the Goddess Sect's underground palace to become a mess. The instant they escaped from the ground, the East Skygate tribe disciples instantly crushed them. As long as the old granny could barely resist, she would be ambushed by the East Skygate tribe sect leader and heavily injured in one move. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. This time, without any warning, the East Skygate tribe suddenly went all out. It could be seen how furious he was when the East Skygate tribe suffered a crushing defeat. This time, the East Skygate tribe attacked. And the reason why he had found the location of the Goddess Sect's underground palace was because of a single person. Tang Lai. The last time he was chased out of Goddess Sect by Long Fei, he was exceptionally unhappy in his heart. The woman whom he was about to get his hands on was unhappy and resentful because of Long Fei's interference. Tang Lai walked in front of the pale old lady, and said, "Old Granny, tell me, where is Mu Bing?" The old granny stared at Tang Lai. "I don't know." "Old thing. You're still being stubborn at a time like this." As Tang Lai spoke, he stepped on the old granny's chest with all his might. Fart. The granny spat out a mouthful of black blood. The faces of the surrounding female disciples all changed, and they scolded loudly, "Tang Lai, I never thought that you would be this kind of person, a despicable and sinister villain. To think that we even compared you to our sect leader. You're not even qualified to carry our sect leader's shoes. Tang Lai, quickly release our grandma. You beast." They were angry at Tang Lai, and also angry at themselves. Why didn't he clearly see Tang Lai's face earlier? Tang Lai grinned and laughed complacently, saying, "Sinister and despicable? Ha ha ha. The East Skygate tribe and my Tang clan have always been in an alliance. The last time I chased them away, it was to get close to you guys, but I did not expect you two to recognize a trash as sect master. He's a piece of trash." The old granny exclaimed, "You're the trash." Those female disciples said at the same time, "Tang Lai, you're the trash. You can't even compare to our sect master." The corner of Tang Lai's eyes turned cold, he lifted his right leg, and peng, with a heavy stomp, a bone below the grandma's chest was broken from the stomp. The grandma was trembling in pain as black blood continued to gush out from her mouth. Tang Lai sneered, and said, "Who's the trash? Quickly tell me, where is Mu Bing and that trash?" The reason he came this time was to kill Long Fei and bring him away. The reason why he had been quiet for so long was precisely to obtain Mu Bing's favor. Now, he did not want to do that anymore. There were many things in this world that could be obtained by simply using the power of one's fist. If one could not obtain a person's heart, then they could obtain a person's body. The old granny said hoarsely, "I don't know." Indeed, she did not know. Even if she did know, she would not tell him. At this time, a disciple walked out from the underground palace and whispered something into the ears of the East Skygate tribe sect leader. His expression changed slightly, walked up to the old granny and shouted, "Where is the goddess scroll? If you hand it over, I can spare your lives, if not." East Skygate tribe's goal was the goddess scroll. The grandma showed her blood-stained teeth as she laughed. "I don't know either. If you're capable, you'll kill me now. Old thing. You think I don't dare?" Lord of East Skygate tribe took a step forward, the sword in his hand directly striking between the old granny's eyebrows. The granny did not move. His gaze didn't change, as if he wasn't afraid of death at all. When the sword was just half a centimeter away from the old granny's forehead, Lord of East Skygate tribe suddenly retracted, coldly laughed, and said, "You want to die? It's not that easy." Tang Lai also said, "Clan Master, the goddess scroll should be on that trash. If we can find him, we will definitely be able to get the goddess scroll." "The kid that killed my elder?" Lord of East Skygate tribe asked. Tang Lai nodded his head, "That's him, I just don't know where he's hiding now." Tang Lai looked at the old granny once again, his right leg relaxed slightly, and said, "Old thing, why must you suffer? As long as you tell me his whereabouts, I will immediately release you and promise not to make things difficult for you." The old granny spat out a mouthful of blood, looked at Tang Lai, and said, "I don't know F***ck. Tang Lai burst out in vulgarities, his eyes turned sinister as he bellowed, "Old thing, you really don't care about face, right?" As soon as he finished, Tang Lai walked to the front of a goddess sect disciple and smacked down with his palm. Bam! His palm struck at the top of his head, causing it to crack. Blood trickled out of his 7 orifices, and without any struggle, he collapsed to the ground, dead. He was in an extremely miserable state. Senior Sister Liu. "Tang Lai, you beast." Tang Lai revealed a sinister expression, and said, "Speak. Where did that brat go?" 3 seconds passed. No one said anything. In that moment, Tang Lai slammed his palm down once again, and another goddess sect disciple fell. He shouted out once again, "Old thing, quickly tell me." Tears welled up in the grandma's eyes as she looked at the female disciples. They were all like granddaughters. She was the one who personally taught them cultivation and everything. Yet now, she was going to die in front of him. "Grandmother, don't say anything. We're not afraid. We're not afraid." As they spoke, their bodies were also trembling non-stop. Who wouldn't be afraid of death? Tang Lai grinned and said, "Since you're not afraid of death, then all of you go and die." Buzz. The long sword vibrated, and a humming sound could be heard. Tang Lai sneered, "Old thing, I'll give you one last chance. As long as you tell me where that brat is, they won't have to die, and I'll exchange 13 of them for that piece of trash's life. This transaction is very worth it." The old granny clenched her fists, gritting her teeth so hard that they crackled. "In the end," she said, "I don't know." Tang Lai's eyes turned cold. "Humph. Then I'll use them to cultivate my Tang sect's Heaven's End sword art." Buzz. As a strong wind rose, the long sword in Tang Lai's hands danced, and countless sword lights appeared in the air, like a gigantic sword formation, falling down one strike after another. With each move, one disciple fell. The 13 female disciples all fell to the ground in less than half a minute. "Ha ha ha." Lord of East Skygate tribe smiled faintly, and said, "Junior Master's sword technique is truly amazing. I can't even see where you can draw your sword." In this area, the Tang clan was considered to be in existence at the level of a hegemon. Tang Lai withdrew his long sword and revealed a pleased smile, saying, "Ha ha ha, sect master thinks too highly of me." And then, Tang Lai stared at the old granny, and said, "Old thing, it's your turn now." Chapter 1739 Death Ray. Chapter 1739 Death Ray. The old granny did not care about death. The deaths of these female disciples caused her heart to feel as if 10,000 swords had pierced through it, and it was incomparably painful. Lord of East Skygate tribe walked over and said, "I heard that the people from the goddess sect are all carrying distress bombs, so we should go find them. Why don't we let them come find us?" The grandma's gaze immediately tensed up. When Tang Lai saw the change in the old granny's expression, he immediately said, "Ha ha ha. The sect leader is really meticulous." Lord of East Skygate tribe shouted, "Search his body. Sovereign, a signal detonator has been discovered." "I found it too." "Here too." Before long, they had found 7 signal bombs. "Fire. I believe that brat would definitely rush back if he saw the signal detonator." Lord of East Skygate tribe stared at the old granny and sneered, "Old thing, we will set a trap here, and wait for that brat to fall into our trap, ha ha ha." Swoosh. Rumble. A brilliant firework exploded in midair. Swoosh. Another firework exploded. The 7 signal bombs exploded in midair. The signal detonator had been fired and was now waiting. The Lord of East Skygate tribe shouted, "Prepare yourself, we'll wait for that brat to fall into our trap." Tang Lai looked at the old granny with a face full of pride, and said, "Old granny, you have held on to things for your entire life, and today, you are going to die. Ha ha ha." And then, Tang Lai said, "Lord Clan Master, in order to let that trash enter the encirclement, why not let your demon beastess slowly eat the corpses of the female disciples?" The old granny coughed anxiously, and spat out a few mouthfuls of black blood, as she bellowed, "Tang Lai, are you still a human? You are an animal. Something not as good as a beast. Not letting go even after killing them, and even letting the demon beast tear their bodies apart and devour them. Just how cruel was that?" Tang Lai grinned and laughed, "Ha ha ha. Old thing, isn't this world where the strong preys on the weak? If you have the ability, Then kill me and throw me to the demon beast to eat. Ha ha ha. Incomparable pride. The Lord of East Skygate tribe idea moved, and a few demon beast immediately walked out slowly and sniffed at the corpses, and after receiving permission, they began to tear and bite. He opened his bloody mouth and bit off the head of a female disciple with one bite. The scene was extremely tragic. The old granny's tears flowed profusely as she wanted to drive away those demon beasts. However, she was also at the end of her life and was seriously injured, so much so that she could not even move a muscle. Tang Lai revealed an evil smile, and said, "Brat, come quickly. Seeing this scene, you will definitely be very happy, ahahaha." Everything was quiet. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. 6 hours passed. Tang Lai had lost his patience while waiting, and all the corpses of the female disciples had also been completely eaten by the demon beast. Lord of East Skygate tribe did the same as he walked out and said fiercely, "Old thing, hurry up and tell us where that brat went to." Since it had not appeared for so long, that could only mean one thing. Or maybe Long Fei did not see the signal flare. Or he did not care about the life and death of Goddess sect at all. Tang Lai's face was also filled with anger, as he said, "Old Granny, did you see that? That brat didn't care about your lives at all. To think you would care so much about him, what about now? He's just a useless person who fears death." The granny's face was incomparably pale as she faintly smiled. "He won't come back, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha." Cough, cough, cough. The laughter was too exciting. Another series of coughs and blood gushed out. The grandma laughed happily. She had always been worried that Long Fei would return, but she didn't see him return. Long Fei was the old master's child. He had a long way to go, so he definitely could not stay here. Humph. Old thing, do you think you've won? Tang Lai was enraged. He stomped his foot and said, "If he doesn't come, you will die." Bam! The old granny's body caved in, her eyes opened from the pain, and her wounds split open once again. Blood gushed out, but she was still smiling, very happy. Tang Lai was enraged. Bam! Another heavy stomp landed. Crack! Another few bones were broken. The old granny coughed continuously, the smile still on her face. Her eyes slowly dimmed, her body gradually stiffened as she looked into the distance. There was hope in his eyes. Dead. Tang Lai did not stop there. He stomped his foot down. Old thing, it's all because of you. If not for you, Mu Bing would have been my woman a long time ago." Bang, bang, bang. He stomped his feet on the ground. Even if he died, he would not let it go. Lord of East Skygate tribe's forehead also turned sinister. With the old lady's death, the whereabouts of Goddess sect's spirit treasure Goddess scroll would become unknown. He had worked hard for more than 10 years for this item, but it all ended up in vain. He was also extremely angry in his heart. At this moment, a black shadow suddenly descended. Tang Lai's expression shook. "Second uncle? Why are you here?" The man said, "The messenger from God Rare sect is here, come with me to take the examination." God Rare sect. Tang Lai's expression shook, and a bright light flashed. "Didn't you say that there is still a month of time? Why are you here earlier than expected?" The man said, "We don't know the specific reason. You should go back and examine it first." En. Tang Lai nodded, then stared at the old granny, spitting out sputum. "Old thing, I am about to become a disciple of God Rare sect. If you can give me a dream to that brat, let him come to God Rare sect to find me, see how I will kill him." As soon as he finished, Tang Lai quickly followed the man and left. There was nothing more important than the God Rare sect's assessment. Not even Mu Bing. God Rare sect, one of the Devil Island S. As long as they could join the God Rare sect, they would be able to soar into the sky. It was not difficult to become a disciple of the God Rare sect with Tang Lai's talent. "Kid, don't let me see you again. Otherwise, I will crush you into pieces with lightning-like might," Tang Lai coldly snorted in his heart. "Sovereign, are we still going to wait?" Lord of East Skygate tribe looked at the color of the sky and exhaled, then said, "There's no need to wait any longer, that brat will definitely not return. Also, when the messenger from the God Rare sect goes to the Tang family, his next destination will be our East Skygate tribe. I have to go back and make some preparations." the Lord of East Skygate tribe said indifferently. And then, the people of East Skygate tribe all withdrew. 7 signal bombs. What happened? Something big must have happened. It must be the East Skygate tribe. Lu Qin was extremely anxious. Long Fei rushed to the front and increased his speed with all his might, thinking to himself, "Old Granny, don't let anything happen to me." Tianyang City was too far away from the goddess sect. They wouldn't be able to make it in a short period of time. 10 hours later, and the other two arrived at the goddess sect. Looking at the scene in front of them, the rage on Long Fei's body flared up like a gigantic volcano. Chapter 1740 Long Fei Enraged. Chapter 1740 Long Fei Enraged. The roar was filled with boundless rage. The aura from Long Fei's body also quickly spread out like a volcanic eruption. The strength stripes that was visible to the naked eye shot out. One after another, one after another. In the forest, the flying beasts were alarmed and the demon beast crawled on the ground. The few wolves surrounding the old granny's corpse were so shocked by the sound of Long Fei's voice that their heart broke, and they immediately vomited blood and died. He was furious. Incomparable rage. This was the first time Long Fei was this angry in ancient holy battlefield. It wasn't easy to find a family member, a mother-in-law who treated him like her own grandson, and it wasn't easy to find someone related to his mother. However, he died in less than 5 days. Moreover, she died so miserably. Her body was bitten into pieces by those evil wolves and her internal organs were all dug out. There was only a little bit of a smile on her face from beginning to end. That kind of happy, kind smile. "Grandma, Grandma." Lu Qin and Mu Bing's tears flowed profusely as they instantly pounced on him. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, causing his joints to crack, his teeth to crack, and killing intent to surge. It was incredibly thick, his long white hair automatically scattered. It moved with the wind. In an instant, his pupils turned blood red. Long Fei asked in a gloomy voice, "Where is East Skygate tribe?" His voice was cold. Extremely cold. Mu Bing wiped away her tears and said, "I know." At this moment, Lu Qin stopped Mu Bing and said, "Sect Master, we cannot go." Although Lu Qin was furious, she was very clear on the East Skygate tribe's strength. If the 3 of them were to go, there would only be one outcome, death. She was still awake. The reason why this old granny still had a smile on her face when she died was because Long Fei hadn't returned. It was because the people from East Skygate tribe didn't catch him, and that way, the goddess sect wouldn't have died. There was still hope. However, Long Fei did not care about all that. His anger had already reached his brain and he only had one thought in his mind, kill. Long Fei took a step forward, directly landing in front of Lu Qin, shouted once, and said, "Don't waste your breath on me, lead the way immediately. Faster." It was almost a roar. Lu Qin's heart trembled slightly. The aura that erupted from Long Fei's body was truly too frightening. In addition, his blood-colored eyes and his flying white hair looked too frightening, causing fear in one's heart and making them not dare to look directly at him. Mu Bing also woke up and said, "Sect Master, senior sister is right, we are not his match, we cannot go." "Don't talk to me like that. Just tell me the location of the East Skygate tribe." Long Fei glared, with incomparable savagery. The anger in his heart had to be vented out. In this plain of the ancient holy battlefield, this was the first time Long Fei showed such an intense desire to kill. He had been holding a ball of anger in his heart all this time. Fury towards the destiny god. The old granny's death ignited the anger within him. He could not control the urge to kill. Lu Qin shook his head, "I can't go." Mu Bing shook his head in fear, "I can't go." The 2 of them were really afraid of Long Fei's current state. He couldn't control it at all. Just like a demon beast that had gone berserk, that kind of berserk mode only contained killing intent and revenge. If this state continued, East Skygate tribe would be courting death. It had to be known that it was a sect, not just 1 or 2 people. "You won't tell me, right? You won't tell me, right?" Long Fei roared fiercely, and said, "All right, I'll look for it myself." And then, Long Fei's body shot out, and Su directly jumped into the forest. As he ran, he roared loudly. "You bastard from East Skygate tribe, get the hell out here. You bastard from the East Skygate tribe, get the hell out here." Ah! He was venting crazily. Mu Bing and Lu Qin started to worry secretly. "Senior sister, I'll go chase after the sovereign. You handle the affairs of my grandma." Mu Bing was extremely worried for Long Fei. With his current aura and his incomparably savage killing intent, he would definitely be in danger if he encountered a strong demon beast. Long Fei's current state was like a live target in the forest where the demon beast roamed. Many demon beasts would come over after smelling Long Fei's scent. The more brutal the aura, the more powerful the demon beast would be, and once surrounded, it would be hard for Long Fei to escape death. Mu Bing chased after him at full speed. Long Fei's aura did not weaken in the slightest. Blood-red eyes and silvery white long hair shuttled back and forth within the forest, like a giant devil. "You bastard from the East Skygate tribe, come out, come out," Long Fei roared. Mu Bing shouted from not far away, "Sect Master, wait for me, Sect Master." At this moment, Long Fei lost his mind. Like a headless fly, he flew around randomly and hit everywhere. He did not have a sense of direction at all and directly ran towards the deepest part of the forest. Mu Bing, who was behind him, became increasingly worried. Roar! Suddenly, a loud roar echoed out from within the depths of the forest, shaking the entire mountain. Mu Bing's eyes darkened. Crap! However, Long Fei completely disregarded that, and shouted out the same thing, "Get the hell out here." Roar! Rumble! Rumble! Immediately after, a few heart-piercing roars sounded out from the depths of the forest. These were all great demon beasts, and they hid deep in the mountains, harboring a deep hostility towards humans. Moreover, this kind of demon beast would definitely not be controlled by anyone. Even if Long Fei were the king of beasts, he wouldn't be able to summon them. Boom! Suddenly, with a loud noise, dust filled the sky in the mountain forest, and the towering trees were like a bulldozer that had been pushed to the ground. They came rolling towards Shamu in an incomparably ferocious manner. "Sovereign, be careful," Mu Bing shouted loudly. However, Long Fei acted as if he heard it. Seeing the dust that filled the sky, he revealed an excited smile and rushed forward, shouting, "Scram!" There was no fear. There was only killing intent. Long Fei had to let go. Roar! With a loud noise, the dust in the sky rolled over like a wave of air, instantly blocking their line of sight. At the same time, a huge object suddenly stood up from within the dust. It was over 30 meters long, and the one on the 10th floor was enormous. It was an extremely pitch-black pincer worm, covered in thick rock armor. Two extremely sharp claws shot towards Long Fei. It was as fast as lightning. Furthermore, with the huge aura of that fellow crushing Long Fei, he was able to completely crush Long Fei. However, Long Fei was even more crazy than it was. Without saying anything further, he cursed loudly, "F***CK your grandpa." Hurricane burst boxing. A punch was thrown out. It directly hit the centipede's pincer. Boom! A long gash appeared on the head of the pincer insect, and it was instantly killed. The system sounded out. Before Long Fei even had the chance to check how much experience he had gained, an even larger monster stood by his side. Boss. King Kong Fierce Bear. Chapter 1741, God's Armor, Broken. Chapter 1741, God's Armor, Broken. Huge object. Thick steel armor covered his body as he stood proudly in the midst of the sand and dust. His front limbs were all standing there like a dark mountain. At this moment, when Mu Bing arrived, he immediately stopped breathing, opened his eyes wide, and slowly looked up. His heart rate sped up, and his body started trembling uncontrollably. "Bear King! Bear! Diamond Bear! Bear King!" His voice trembled. "Sovereign, don't move, please don't move, the bear's eyesight is bad, as long as you don't move, he won't be able to see you, your aura should also be withdrawn." Mu Bing whispered. She was extremely worried. In his current state, Long Fei basically could not listen to what she had to say. Right now, he wanted to vent his anger. "Don't submit, just do it." Long Fei raised his head and looked at the boss King Kong Fierce Bear, wiping the bridge of his nose, His eyes widened and shouted, "I don't care what you are, but if you block my way, you will die." Roar. The King Kong fierce bear suddenly opened its mouth and roared. Rumble. 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 The air seemed to explode as the entire valley trembled. Strong gales were stirred up. The strong wind blew past like sharp blades, and at this moment, the dust and sand also disappeared. The entire body of the King Kong fierce bear was revealed. Hair like a steel needle. Its 4 limbs were like pillars and it wore a thick layer of steel armor on its body. The steel armor shone with a white light under the scorching sun, making it appear exceptionally dazzling. It even wore a helmet on its head. Just like the bear in the Golden Compass, the King Kong fierce bear in front of him was countless times bigger. Moreover, extreme brutality. His aura was from the primal level. Incomparable valiance. Ding. Suddenly, a system notification rang out. System prompt, subdue or kill. A choice box appeared in Long Fei's mind. One was to subdue, and the other was to kill. Long Fei did not make a choice. He made a decision based on his actions. With a single step, he jumped onto a towering tree. With another leap, Su. Rushing up to the sky. "If I don't have the blasting fist, I'll still kill you." Long Fei roared out. He was in a berserk state and was fearless. Whoever was in his way, no matter if it was a person or a demon beast, they were all in his way. "Do it." Seeing Long Fei rushing out, Mu Bing's face changed, and he exclaimed in his heart, "Not good." In the air. Before Long Fei could rush to the front of the violent bear, a gigantic bear paw print came smashing down. Poochie. Boom. Long Fei's body exploded downwards from midair and a circular energy shockwave continuously shot out from the void. This power. It was as if he was unrivaled. God's armor. Long Fei clenched his teeth and activated the defense of the God's armor. Rumble. Crashing to the ground, Long Fei's entire body felt as if it was being torn apart, and it was so painful that he could hardly breathe. In that few seconds, he almost could not feel his own body. A giant crater with a diameter of 50 meters appeared beneath him. Ding. The God's armor is broken. Buzz. Suddenly, the God's armor disappeared from his body. Defense. Health point. All the attributes brought by the God's armor disappeared. With a single palm strike, he shattered the God's armor's defense of 10,000 points. How strong was his strength? He was so strong that he looked like he was about to explode. If not for the protection of the God's armor, Long Fei would have been reduced to a pile of meat paste. Mu Bing's face was pale white. Seeing that Long Fei had been slapped down by the Bear King, her heart tightened and quickly ran up to him. Seeing that Long Fei was not moving at all in the middle of the huge pit, she immediately jumped into the pit and crawled as she ran. Sect Master, Sect Master, Sect Master. The goddess sect had already become like this. If Long Fei died again, then goddess sect would really be dead. Mu Bing ran down the stairs, picked Long Fei up and carried him in his arms as he yelled, "Sect Master, don't let anything happen to you, don't, I won't allow anything to happen to you." Wow. Long Fei was almost unable to react in time. This girl, she's really crazy. At this moment, the King Kong fierce bear had wanted to leave initially, because Long Fei would definitely not be able to survive the palm strike he received. He did not eat the dead, but when he saw Mu Bing running down, he stopped. Immediately, another palm ruthlessly struck down. This time, the sharp claws on his palm flashed with a cold light that was a meter long. If he was hit by this attack, his body would be split in half. Isn't his chest too crippled? Huh? Mu Bing suddenly realized that her chest was a little too big, and had pressed down Long Fei's nose. Her face flushed red, but seeing that Fei Xing had woken up, she was happy. He didn't notice what was behind him. At this moment, the bear's paw was only a few meters away, and could be said to have arrived in an instant. Long Fei suddenly stood up, and blocked Mu Bing's path. His eyes darkened, and roared out, "UF*K, you destroyed my God's armor, I'll skin that layer of skin off you. Holy Spirit Angel, come out. Holy Spirit Defense." The goddess scroll moved, the Holy Spirit Angel waved her beautiful angel wings, and her body floated in the air, releasing a ray of light on Long Fei's body. A magic shield appeared on Long Fei's body that only he could see. Bring it on. Long Fei leaned his body forward slightly. With a sudden move, he directly smashed towards the bear's paw. Seeing that Long Fei was still alive, the King Kong fierce bear was unhappy. Roar, boom, boom, boom. It let out a furious roar, and under his palms, no one was alive. It was impossible for the demon beast to be, and it was even more impossible for humans. He was even more enraged. The power of the bear's paw became even stronger as its sharp claws cut through the air and slammed down heavily. Come. Rumble. Long Fei did not dodge, nor did he avoid. The moment the two forces collided. Boom. Rumble. An incomparably loud sound was produced, and Long Fei's body was also instantly knocked flying. He knocked over a dozen huge trees that reached into the sky, and carved a 100-meter-long ditch on the ground. A 3-figure damage also floated up above his head. F***CK. This daddy here is 99% immune to attacks and has over 200 damage. If not for Holy Spirit defense, this daddy here would have died without even a scrap left. I don't believe it. Long Fei's body bounced, and once again rushed forward. The King Kong fierce bear's second move still did not kill Long Fei, which made him even more displeased. He was the king on this mountain range, and under the authority of a king, he had to kneel down in everything. Bam! Bam! The King Kong fierce bear angrily rushed forward. Chapter 1742, This Father Doesn't Believe in Evil. Chapter 1742, This Father Doesn't Believe in Evil. Long Fei raged. The boss was also furious. This time, it all happened in an instant. The King Kong fierce bear and Long Fei once again collided head-on. This time, the King Kong fierce bear used its hardest part and smashed its head onto Long Fei's body. Rumble. Long Fei's body sprung, and every time he sprung, a powerful shockwave would erupt from his body, instantly erupting outwards. I will not die. Long Fei stood up once again, and with a roar, he would not die. Roar. The King Kong fierce bear suddenly stood up, its front claws furiously slapping at its chest, opening its mouth and roaring at Long Fei. It suddenly suppressed its body and crazily rushed forward. Boom. Boom. Everywhere his body went, it was a complete mess. 10,000 tons of rocks was equivalent to 10,000 tons of rocks. The towering tree was like a towering tree. In front of him, it was like dust that had directly smashed into everything. He had to say it. This guy made a fierce comparison. Long Fei continued to ponder, will we kill him? Can't we kill him? His idea could not help but ask Holy Spirit Angel, can your Holy Spirit instantly kill it? A string of numbers frantically appeared in the Holy Spirit Goddess mind. After calculating the number of injuries, she lightly said, no. Rub. Long Fei shouted in his heart, how powerful is this guy? He couldn't even kill the Holy Spirit in a second. If I knew earlier, I would have kept the blasting fist. Long Fei never thought that he would encounter such a ferocious fellow. The Holy Spirit defense's end time was almost up. If not for Holy Spirit defense, then Long Fei wouldn't even be able to block one of his moves, and would be instantly killed. It can't be killed. Is there really no other way? Long Fei looked at the King Kong fierce bear that was continuously charging at him, and the distance between them was getting closer and closer. He couldn't help but frown, but he wasn't flustered. On the contrary, he was abnormally calm in his heart. Unknowingly, the hostility and killing intent in his body had also disappeared. His eyes became normal. The anger in his heart was extinguished by the King Kong fierce bear. There's also no metamorphic energy value. If that's the case. All right. Since we can't kill you, we'll subdue you. Long Fei was shocked. Last time, the system short-circuited him and gave him a big gift pack with everything inside. They all had support skills. Moreover, all of them were divine-level cultivation techniques from the ancient holy battlefield. Then let me witness the power of your divine-level expert. Long Fei moved, continuously consuming several divine spirit pills. His holy power value rapidly rose, and in the instant the King Kong fierce bear arrived in front of Long Fei. Beast mastery. Buzz. He opened his right hand, and his left hand frantically formed a seal. A gigantic amount of divine force formed on Long Fei's body into something that resembled a lightning web, covering the King Kong Fierce Bear's body and entering into its sea of consciousness. In that instant, Long Fei instantly sensed the King Kong Fierce Bear's sea of consciousness. His heart was shaken to the point of being a mess. The enormous sea of consciousness. He couldn't see the end of it. And it was vast and endless. The larger the sea of consciousness, the longer the demon beast cultivated. The cultivation time of the King Kong Fierce Bear must have been at least 1,000 years, which showed just how savage it was. Boom! The violent bear let out a roar, and practically drove Long Fei's idea out of his consciousness in an instant, and in that instant, smacked Long Fei down with a palm. Bam! He hit the ground directly. Fart! Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale white. It was incomparably painful. The eyes of the violent bear were filled with veins of blood. Long Fei's beast mastery made him extremely furious, as his huge eyes stared straight at Long Fei, carrying a savage killing intent. Long Fei became even more unhappy and shouted, "Even if I have the slightest chance of killing you, you will still die in front of me." Roar! The King Kong Fierce Bear seemed to understand Long Fei's provocations. It released a burst of rage, and suddenly stood up again, smashing down towards Long Fei. Long Fei rolled his body. Dragon step. Shua. He jumped, jumping dozens of meters away, and in that instant, virtual mirror. Buzz buzz buzz. With a flash, the void door opened and Long Fei also entered in an instant, looking extremely miserable. Ding. Holy Spirit defense time is over. Long Fei was heavily injured, and now, all he needed was a light attack to kill him. No way. The beast mastery cannot do it. His sea of consciousness is too big, it's simply impossible to control his idea. Long Fei was thinking quickly within the void door. While he was thinking, the boss was not idle, but was wreaking havoc crazily. Within the range of his strength, dozens of void door were shattered. He was even more furious because he could not find Long Fei. Roar. He roared at the ground. Clang. Clang. Hualala. Just like a mirror that was being broken, with one side crumbling and falling apart, the virtual mirror that did not even take half a minute had only a few left. At this time, Lu Qin rushed over, and looking at the mess around him, and then looking at the King Kong Fierce Bear, his eyes darkened. Bear King. Senior sister. Mu Bing quickly shouted. She was still in the midst of the shock Long Fei had caused when he had helped her block her attacks. She was scared silly, and when she saw Lu Qin, she immediately recovered. Lu Qin looked at the furious Bear King and asked, "Where is the sect master?" "Master?" Mu Bing stared blankly for a while before saying, "Sect master, sect master. They were there just now, so they should be hiding." Lu Qin immediately shouted out loud, "Sect master, we will lure the Bear King away, you think of a way to escape yourself." The chi on Lu Qin's body was released, the sword moved, pointing at the King Kong Fierce Bear, he said, "Come, beast." The King Kong Fierce Bear suddenly turned and stared at Lu Qin with its huge eyes. At that moment, Lu Qin was immediately staring at the eyes of the King Kong Fierce Bear, unable to move. His mind was trembling non-stop, that kind of feeling was too terrifying. Just like how the powerhouse glared at him in anger. Gudong. Lu Qin swallowed his saliva and spoke again, "If you have the guts, come at me." Mu Bing also crawled out of the pit, and shouted, "And me." Long Fei was their goddess sect's sect master. Even if they were to die, they couldn't let Long Fei die. Grandma died. So many senior sister S had died, only the three of them were still alive. As long as Long Fei was still alive, perhaps, he could be like his mother and establish the goddess sect, allowing him to regain his former glory. Lu Qin made his choice without hesitation. Mu Bing shouted loudly, "Sect master, run quickly." It was also at this time. The King Kong Fierce Bear's hatred was successfully attracted to the two of them, and with a turn of its body, it crazily charged towards them. Who? Stupid woman. Long Fei moved through the air and appeared in front of another void door in a flash. The void door that was set up in this position was used to protect Mu Bing. Now, Long Fei's right hand quickly formed a seal, while his left hand also formed a seal. He released two different skills. I don't believe it. Chapter 1743, Let's see who can be so arrogant to the very end. Chapter 1743, Let's see who can be so arrogant to the very end. I don't believe this. Long Fei stood in front of Lu Qin and Mu Bing, his brows tightly locked together. He wasn't sure. But he had to try. If they did not try, the two of them would die. It was impossible for the two of them to withstand an attack from a King Kong fierce bear alone. Long Fei had to endure everything. Master! Master! The two girls shouted out at the same time. For some reason, the two of them felt that Long Fei was extremely great as they looked at his back, especially Mu Bing, whose heart was rippling like a flower. Perhaps. This must be spring. Long Fei said slightly, the two of you should leave now. Lu Qin and Mu Bing looked at each other, but did not leave. Instead, they took a step forward and stood in front of Long Fei, who said, Sect Master, we'll accompany you. Mu Bing nodded his head, En. Long Fei's lips curled up slightly as he laughed. Accompany me? What kind of accompanying method was this? 3. What's a 3 aces? Lu Qin asked curiously. Long Fei laughed and said, 3 accompany is fine, let's eat together, let's drink together, in addition. And you also have to accompany me in rolling around the bed. Mu Bing's face flushed red as he said, Sect Master, what time is it for you to still be thinking about such things? Not ashamed? Lu Qin said very straightforwardly, if we can survive, I'll accompany you. Then he muttered, anyway, I owe you a bedroll. Mu Bing looked at Lu Qin, then pouted her lips, revealing a look of determination. I will also accompany you. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out loud, and said, Good, 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 then I must live on in a good manner, if not, how could I let you all accompany me? Bring it on. Long Fei frowned, his eyes staring straight at the King Kong fierce bear. He was extremely serious. Roar. The King Kong fierce bear roared in anger and opened its bloody mouth to pounce towards Long Fei and the other two. It wanted to swallow them whole in one go. Let's see who eats who. The idea moved. Long Fei released his spirit power, forming a gigantic electric net. He bellowed, Beast Mastery. Buzz. Amongst the divine power, the idea quickly penetrated into the King Kong fierce bear's sea of consciousness. Any demon beast, including the people themselves, were the same. They hated people entering their own brain. Right now, the King Kong fierce bear was extremely unhappy. He let out a roar. His sea of consciousness surged, setting off an enormous wave that overflowed the heavens, and directly slapped Long Fei's idea out of his sea of consciousness. Long Fei was also struggling. Rumble. 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 The ripples in his sea of consciousness became more and more intense, and the King Kong fierce bear was also getting closer and closer to Long Fei, about to crash into him. Lu Qin and Mu Bing stood quietly in front of Long Fei, their eyes slowly closing. In this situation, the chances of them living were close to 0. He couldn't stop it at all. Long Fei also broke out in cold sweat, but his heart was abnormally calm. The more critical a situation was, the calmer one had to be. Just a bit more, just a bit more. The King Kong fierce bear's sea of consciousness flipped upside down. Long Fei's idea could not hold on any longer, and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At the same time, Long Fei roared angrily as a drop of blood essence condensed from his finger and dripped onto the ground. At the same time, Long Fei formed a seal with his right hand and smashed it onto the ground. Blood essence as a guide, spiritual gate, open for me. Buzz. With Long Fei at the center, 8 runic rays quickly exploded outwards, forming a huge spirit communication formation. In that moment, the King Kong fierce bear landed inside the formation. It lost control of its sea of consciousness in an instant. The beast mastery was only a feint. Making the King Kong fierce bear angry, making his sea of consciousness surge, making him lose his mind, this way the success rate of using the spirit communication technique would greatly increase. But this was only a possibility. The chances of failure were very high. Buzz. Buzz. Rays of divine light surged out from the rune and formed a powerful spirit communication formation. Long Fei's idea stood above the sea of consciousness of the King Kong fierce bear. What's the point of staying deep in the mountains? Come with me. Big Bro will bring you to see this world. I'll let you experience what a wonderful world looks like. Bring it on. The King Kong fierce bear was still struggling, going berserk and roaring, unleashing all of its original strength. The earth quaked and the mountains shook. The entire mountain range seemed to tremble. The 10,000 beasts growled. Long Fei's body also unceasingly trembled. He couldn't hold on for much longer. Take it head on. Even if he couldn't, he had to hold on because this was Long Fei's last chance. Either you die, or I die. Long Fei clenched his teeth. His sea of consciousness was also trembling intensely. He could not take it anymore, and fresh blood kept flowing out of his mouth, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. Ah! Ah! He bellowed. Let's see who can remain so arrogant. Long Fei went all out. When Lu Qin and Mu Bing heard the huge tremor, they, who were resigned to their fate, also opened their eyes. They saw that blood was continuously flowing out of Long Fei's mouth, then looked at the surrounding spirit communication formation. The King Kong fierce bear was frantically struggling. The two of them were a little dazed. What can we do? Master, what should we do? Long Fei's face was pale white. He felt as though he was at the end of his life, and said in a low voice, blood essence, use your blood essence and pour it into my spirit communication formation, quickly, quickly. He couldn't hold on any longer. Right now, Long Fei was carrying his life on his shoulders. Lu Qin and Mu Bing instantly condensed a drop of blood essence. The blood essence landed on the formation. A divine light was released. In that instant, Lu Qin and Mu Bing both felt the powerful strength of the King Kong fierce bear. That kind of powerful impact was something Long Fei had to bear. As the blood essence of the two of them poured in, Long Fei roared out, "Let's see how long you can last. Violent bear, come with me, brother will take you to the divine battlefield. Do you want to stay here forever?" This was the battle for the psychic summon. It was also a psychological battle. On the edge of Long Fei's collapse, King Kong fierce bear was the same as well. Whoever could last one more second would have a chance of winning, even if Long Fei had the help of Mu Bing and Mu Bing. They were still weak. King Kong fierce bear's mental strength was too strong. "Come with me," Long Fei shouted out again. Roar! The King Kong fierce bear let out a furious roar, and then the idea loosened its grip. Long Fei's power of communication completely entered his body, and instantly occupied his sea of consciousness. And control his idea. At this moment, Long Fei did not replace his idea, but slightly said, "Sign the contract, and you will still be you. I will not control your thoughts." This was a gift. The King Kong fierce bear was slightly moved, and immediately after, a drop of its blood essence fell on the spirit communication formation. At the same time, a system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully taming King Kong fierce bear. Huff! Long Fei's body went limp and he fell to the ground, lying on the ground while gasping for breath. Finally succeeded. Now! With him now, I can go and take care of the East Skygate tribe. Chapter 1744 8-Level Talent, Super Genius. Chapter 1744 8-Level Talent, Super Genius Tang Clan, Martial Arts Practice Field. Alright. Oh my god, the Spiritual Gods test of the Blackstone has reached the 8th section. What does that mean? Number 1 Genius. Big Brother Tang Lai is really too powerful. The heavens have blessed our Tang clan. The two envoys from God Rare Sect also never thought that Tang Lai's talent potential would actually reach the 8th stage. This was undoubtedly a group of super geniuses. If this genius was brought back to the God Rare Sect, they would receive a reward of 5,000 contribution points. Ha ha ha. It's about time for us to get lucky. Not only is there a 7th rank genius, there's also a 8th rank super genius. Ha ha ha. Left envoy laughed excitedly. Good. I finally got something out of this trip down the mountain. Ever since he left the Tianyang city, he had been feeling very unhappy. To admit that he was trash, he must have been tricked by Long Fei. If not for the things he had to do, he would have attacked Long Fei a long time ago. Tang Jiao Yuan walked up and said, "Emissaries, I'll leave Liar to you." Left envoy immediately said, Patriarch Tang, please rest assured. He will definitely become the elite disciple of God Rare sect, and in the future, he will definitely be at the top of the Devil Island. The 8th-level talent, an absolute genius. As long as he passes the examination and is directly accepted as a disciple by the Elder of Inner House, we will have to rely on him in the future. The status of disciples in Elder of Inner House was much higher than them. Tang Lai said, "Emissaries, please be at ease. In the future, Tang Lai will definitely not forget about your nurturing." At this moment, Tang Jiao Yuan's eyes moved slightly as an elder walked up with 2 cosmic bags in his hands. This is just a small matter, not worthy of respect. In addition, Tang Jiao Yuan said, "I know that the 2 emissaries like virgins. Tonight, I have arranged for 8 to be placed for the 2 lords. They are all beautiful ladies of high beauty, all 16 years old, and have been trained well. The 2 lords will definitely be satisfied." For his son, Tang Jiao had long since prepared everything. Even if his son did not meet the requirements to enter the God Rare sect, he would think of a way to bribe the 2 emissaries. No matter what, if the Tang family wanted to become stronger, Tang Lai had to enter the God Rare sect. Only in this way could the Tang clan become big and strong. A lewd smile surfaced on left and right envoy's face as he said, "Clan leader Tang is too courteous, ha ha ha. You are more courteous than the Tianyang city. Only the women of the Lan clan are not enough to play around with, they died before they could enjoy themselves, so there's no meaning at all. Tonight, we can definitely have a big fight, ha ha ha." The 2 emissaries laughed out loud. This was the case for Devil Island. Life is worthless. It didn't matter if you were a virgin or a holy maiden that was as pure as ice or jade. As long as you weren't strong enough, you would be ridden under the crotch. There were no rules in the Devil Island. "Powerhouse is king," Tang Jiao Yuan said. "The 2 sirs will definitely be satisfied. Please take care of Lai on the way," left envoy said. "Don't worry, 8th-level talent, this year's competition's first place will be him. Even if we die, we won't let him get hurt at all." To them, Tang Lai was a treasure. There must be no accident. The left envoy said, "Clan leader Tang, it's getting late, we'll leave tomorrow morning with your son. If you have anything to say, you should hurry up and do it at night. In addition, we still have to make a trip to the East Skygate tribe tomorrow. Time is of the essence. Moreover, the Spring Festival Gala is worth 1,000 gold, we will leave first." While he was speaking, he was swallowing his saliva, as though he was extremely thirsty. Tang Jiao Yuan immediately said, "Lead the way." The 2 envoys swiftly left. Tang Lai looked into the distance, and a secret lock appeared between his eyebrows. Tang Jiao Yuan said, "Liar, isn't it just a woman? What kind of woman do you want after you become a disciple of the God Rare sect? Furthermore, for a sect like the Goddess sect that does not flow in, disciples would definitely not be much either. She is simply not worthy of you." Tang Lai nodded his head, "I understand. What you can't get is always the best." Tang Lai didn't really like Mu Bing, but he didn't get it, and adding the relationship with Long Fei, he was even more unhappy in his heart. "Mu Bing, I will be leaving tomorrow. The next time we meet, you will definitely not be able to escape from my grasp," Tang Lai said fiercely in his heart. The 8th-level talent was destined to change everything. There would be a huge change in the trajectory of his life, and in his view, he might not be able to see Mu Bing again in this lifetime. They were people from 2 completely different worlds. Deep in the forest, in the East Gate Valley. The forest was quiet without a single breath of life. In the dense leaves, Mu Bing pointed to the valley in front of them and said, "Sect Master, East Skygate tribe is right in this valley." Lu Qin said in a low voice, "Sect Master, Grandma does not wish for you to take the risk. Furthermore, the power of the East Skygate tribe is much stronger than what we have imagined. Long Fei's cultivation was still too low. 6-star cultivation base. This level of cultivation was truly not enough. Even if Long Fei had cultivated many arts and techniques, the East Skygate tribe had more than one powerhouse. Long Fei said, "I, Long Fei, have never tried to seek revenge overnight. If the East Skygate tribe destroys my goddess sect, then I will destroy his entire clan." Determined below. Long Fei wanted to kill. East Skygate tribe was too cruel to goddess sect. Long Fei could not take this lying down. Lu Qin let out a light breath, and said, "All right." And then, Long Fei moved, psychic technique. He immediately summoned the King Kong Fierce Bear. Because it was a spirit communication technique, the King Kong Fierce Bear was able to be summoned to be the size of a puppy. But he could control his own form. Long Fei said, "Go to the side of the valley and lure the people from the East Skygate tribe over." The King Kong Fierce Bear nodded and ran out. At this time, Long Fei checked the cooldown of the Hurricane Burst boxing, and said, "There's still 10 minutes, it should be enough. The metamorphic energy value is ready. Grandma, I will definitely avenge you." A few minutes later, roar! A loud sound echoed out. The King Kong Fierce Bear suddenly turned into its battle form, becoming extremely huge. It let out a roar, and the entire valley trembled. The East Skygate tribe was instantly in a state of panic. Those demon beasts were all sprawled on the ground, not daring to move. "Sovereign, it's the Bear King. It's the violent Bear King." The disciples of the East Skygate tribe reported quickly. Lord of East Skygate tribe's gaze tensed up. "Why would the Bear King appear here? I don't care. Since he has delivered himself to my doorstep, then don't blame me for being impolite. Subdue him and gift him to the Lord Envoy. In that case, even if my East Skygate tribe doesn't have any disciples who qualify, I can still buy a placing, right? Pass down my orders. Target, Bear King, kill." Chapter 1745 Annihilation. Chapter 1745 Annihilation. East Skygate tribe went all out. The demon beast they were riding on came flying from all directions. High up in the valley, Long Fei could see everything. Long Fei smirked and said, "I want you to go all out to flank him from the back, and blow up his ass." Long Fei rushed forward with the devil's sword in hand. Lu Qin and Mu Bing followed closely behind. "Kill. Leave no one alive," Long Fei ordered. He wanted the East Skygate tribe to pay the price for everything. He rushed down the hill. Long Fei killed anyone he saw, not letting a single person off. Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing East Skygate tribe subordinate Luo for obtaining 200 experience, holy power value +10, and abnormal value +1. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing East Skygate tribe subordinate Luo for obtaining 200 experience, holy power value +10, and abnormal value +1. Congratulations, player. The system kept beeping. Long Fei killed one with one sword strike. He definitely would not cripple them. All of a sudden, the valley was filled with wails, howls, and pleas for mercy. When you bullied the goddess sect's disciples, did you think about today? The anger in Long Fei's heart did not disappear. He thought about the miserable state of the old granny's death. She died after countless torments. Thinking about those disciples being dismembered by the demon beast, the anger in his heart continuously grew. At this time, the East Skygate tribe's army of disciples crazily encircled and annihilated the King Kong Fierce Bear. The valley's defenses were weak, so Long Fei and the other two were not obstructed at all. "Burn this place!" A fire ignited East Skygate tribe. Thick smoke billowed and flames soared into the sky. At this moment, Lord of East Skygate tribe suddenly reacted. "Crap. Return to the valley, quick." It was not normal for King Kong Fierce Bear to appear outside the valley, but facing the Bear King, he did not think too much. Now that he saw the thick smoke billowing out of the valley, his heart sank. A strange whistle sounded. The demon beast that was rushing out from all directions quickly rushed towards East Skygate tribe valley. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sound of it shook the sky and shook the earth. Long Fei stood at the entrance to the valley with Mu Bing and Mu Bing standing to his left and right. "Is that the Lord of East Skygate tribe?" Mu Bing pointed to the strongest, biggest, and fiercest person in the group, who was carrying a demon beast, and said, "It's him." "Sect Master, you must be careful. Strong. What's the use of being strong in front of the blasting fist?" Long Fei's mouth curved up slightly. He looked at the ferocious demon beast and let out a few roars, and said, "Seems like it is still the leader of these demon beast. If that's the case. King Kong! Long Fei shouted. Instantly, the King Kong fierce bear that had been silent all this time suddenly moved after receiving Long Fei's order. Its hind legs abruptly pushed up, and its huge body charged out. That rhythm. That feeling was so strong that it could explode. Some towering trees, some gigantic rocks were like being curd in front of the King Kong fierce bear. They directly smashed into it and blew everything away. It was the same for the demon beast that rushed up from all directions. In front of him, they were nothing but a bunch of chickens and dogs, and the moment they got any closer, their hearts would be shattered by his aura. Rumble. The King Kong fierce bear landed on the ground, and stood in front of Lord of East Skygate tribe. Its eyes darkened, staring at him. It opened its mouth, revealing its two extremely thick and strong fangs, and roared at the demon beast. The sound waves were like lightning. Crack, crack, crack. Lord of East Skygate tribe was directly sent flying by the sound wave. His body continuously flipped in the air, in an extremely sorry state. As for his mount, it curled into a ball and transformed into a shrimp. It did not dare to look straight at the King Kong fierce bear. Kill. Boom. The King Kong fierce bear swatted down with its paw. Boom. The demon beast was smashed into meat paste in an instant, and the system rang out with the notification of the experience gained. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 7-star god. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei and his bodyguard Xiao Yang for leveling up. Current level, 32. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei and bodyguard Xiao Yang for leveling up and obtaining Heavenly Flame and Pure Lotus Demon Fire. Damn. So fast. Another level up. Long Fei was secretly shocked. He had only leveled up 1 level, yet Xiao Yang's bodyguard had leveled up 2 levels. Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, when will I bring you out for a walk, ha ha ha. Xiao Yang would eventually become a Do-Di, Flame Emperor. At that time, his power would be limitless, and he would be an existence that would destroy the world. Long Fei would not get him out unless it was absolutely necessary. Because it would become Long Fei's strongest killing move. Once the heavenly flame appeared, the world would be destroyed. 108 different types of flames, one after another, struck your body. Let alone the gods in the main temple, even the sovereigns of this plane would be killed by them. Just waiting for that day. The King Kong fierce bear did not stop killing the demon beast leader. Instead, it fiercely rushed forward towards the flying lord of East Skygate tribe. However, but he was stopped by Long Fei, who said, "He's mine, kill all of these demon beast for me. Remember, it's all of them." Long Fei could use the King of Beasts to control these demon beast. However, no, because these demon beast ate the corpses of the female disciples, so they had to die too. The King Kong fierce bear turned and rushed out, charging into the group of demon beast and massacring crazily. Lord of East Skygate tribe stood still. The disciples of the East Skygate tribe also quickly jumped down from the back of the demon beast and surrounded Long Fei in a fan shape. Without King Kong fierce bear, they were not afraid. Lord of East Skygate tribe's face was filled with anger. He said solemnly, "Kid, we have no grievances and no grievances. Why must you attack my East Skygate tribe? Who exactly are you?" He did not know Long Fei. In the valley behind Long Fei, the flames were raging and the East Skygate tribe was almost completely burnt up. Long Fei grinned and sneered, without enmity. "My name is Long Fei." "Long Fei?" Lord of East Skygate tribe said, "I don't know that, Long Fei." "Don't worry. You'll know soon enough." The cold smile on Long Fei's face carried a dense killing intent as he said, "Also, I have another identity, Goddess Sect Master." And then, Lord of East Skygate tribe's eyes darkened. One of the elders immediately said, "Sect leader, those 2 women are disciples of Goddess Sect, I have seen them before." "All right, brat, I'll give you a chance to live, and hand over the Goddess Scroll. Today, I can let you die without any pain, or else, I will let you experience the taste of 10,000 beasts devouring your heart." The Lord of East Skygate tribe's gaze immediately shook. If he could obtain the Goddess Scroll and comprehend the profoundness within, it wouldn't matter even if he destroyed 10 East Skygate tribes. Long Fei said, Did something go wrong with your brain? Kid. You're courting death. Lord of East Skygate tribe shouted. Long Fei sneered, I wonder who's courting death. As soon as he finished, Lord of East Skygate tribe disappeared. Chapter 1746 Explosive Die. Chapter 1746 Explosive Die. So fast. Almost no time for Long Fei to react. It disappeared in an instant. Long Fei frowned. Lu Qin and Mu Bing both brandished their swords, wanting to block but were blocked by Long Fei, and said, You two be careful. As soon as he finished, Long Fei moved, virtual mirror, open. Buzz buzz buzz. One by one, the void door began to open. The corner of Long Fei's mouth moved, and he said, High level, fast speed, it's very amazing, isn't it? Let's see if your speed is faster than mine. Sure. As Long Fei passed through the void door, his figure became completely silent, and even his aura instantly disappeared, as if he had instantly become invisible. Boom. Lord of East Skygate tribe punched down. He punched the air. His body fell down. Disappeared. Lord of East Skygate tribe's expression shook. After faintly sensing Long Fei's aura, he disappeared as well. He immediately sneered, a spatial type cultivation technique. Kid, is this the cultivation technique that you learned from the Goddess Scroll? Spatial cultivation techniques were extremely rare. Everything is in the realm of levels. Even if you cultivate in a powerful technique, you are only slightly higher than warriors of the same realm, but the level of the Lord of East Skygate tribe is much higher than Long Fei. Arrogant beast boxing. Lord of East Skygate tribe roared out, and the clothes on his upper body was immediately shattered into pieces by the force of the impact. He clenched his fists, and his muscles expanded. A punch landed on the ground. Rumble. The ground cracked, and in that instant, a force directly struck the air. The hundreds of void door in the surroundings shattered, unable to withstand the force at all. Hualala. Hualala. Long Fei kept retreating explosively, his aura a little chaotic. His heart was tight, and he thought to himself, the F***CK, so strong? It seems like everything is still above the level. I haven't even been able to fully display the power of my cultivation technique. If Long Fei and Lord of East Skygate tribe were of the same level, his arrogant beast boxing could not break Long Fei's virtual mirror at all. This was the advantage of rank. He still hasn't come out, right? Seems like the spatial attribute cultivation technique you cultivate in is of a very high grade. Boy, I still have the same words. As long as you hand over the Goddess Scroll, I will make sure you die without the slightest pain. Lord of East Skygate tribe looked around, searching for Long Fei's hiding place. The power in his body was also slowly circulating. In that instant, Long Fei shouted, Murderous mode, activate. Killing technique. Tyrant. Wang. The red light on the devil sword shone brightly as a brutal devil intent was released without restraint. It shot down from the sky and struck at Lord of East Skygate tribe's head. Shua. It was as fast as lightning. An elder shouted, Clan Master. Lord of East Skygate tribe did not expect that there would still be void door in the sky, but his reaction was also extremely fast. He slightly lifted his eyes, and with a horse step, his body slightly sank. In that instant, his skin was like red-hot iron, 10,000 beasts defend. Boom. The demon's sword pierced the top of his head and a red light shot out. How sharp was the demon's sword? However, they could not even get a centimeter in. The top of Lord of East Skygate tribe's head was like steel, extremely tough. Giggle. Long Fei pressed down with all his might, but it was still not enough. He cursed, Fuck, this old man will not kill you, this boss. The cooldown time of the blasting fist was not up yet. Not available. Moreover, the blasting fist had been taught a lesson by the King Kong Fierce Bear, so unless it was at the most crucial moment, Long Fei did not want to use it. He had been killed in an instant. The only thing he could do was make Long Fei rely more on the blasting fist, but its cooldown time was too long. Once it was over, Long Fei would become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Lame duck, you can't do it, ha ha ha. Lord of East Skygate tribe said in disdain, Your strength is not even enough to tickle me. Just now, he had only sunk slightly. Now, Lord of East Skygate tribe steadied his body, he raised his eyes and grabbed towards the demon's sword above him. Long Fei's hands were quick, and quickly flicked. You want to leave? No way. Lord of East Skygate tribe roared in anger, he flipped his body and immediately flew into the air, his 5 fingers forming a claw, grabbing towards Long Fei's chest. Leader, be careful. Master. At this moment, Long Fei was still 5 meters away from the nearest void door. This distance was enough for Lord of East Skygate tribe to catch him. Flee. I'm tired of escaping. Lousy, don't ever run again in this life. On what basis? Do you think that your father will run away just because you are very strong? The anger in Long Fei's heart raged. His body suddenly stabilized in midair, and the idea bellowed, Holy Spirit Angel, Holy Spirit Defense. Buzz, Holy Spirit Angel rushed out and immediately released a strand of protective power onto Long Fei's body. 99% resistance. Long Fei's defense was absurd in the remaining 3 minutes. He didn't dodge or evade. He just charged forward. Shua. Lord of East Skygate tribe pierced towards Long Fei's chest with his claw, Wang. With his strength released, he simply could not hold on. Moreover, the joints of his fingers began to crack from the impact, and his strength was reflected back. Huh! Lord of East Skygate tribe had never seen a woman so beautiful with wings and dressed in revealing bones before. She immediately became excited. There's something inside the goddess scroll, right? Ha ha ha. He really is powerful. Lame duck. Quickly hand it over. Trash like you are not worthy of having it. Lord of East Skygate tribe turned sinister. He retracted his hand and jumped, staring at Holy Spirit Angel with excitement in his eyes. Beautiful. It's too beautiful. A woman like that is the most beautiful thing in the world. Goddess scroll, so. The one inside is the goddess. Ha ha ha. Lord of East Skygate tribe became fanatical. At this time, Long Fei's body disappeared once again. With a heaven-defying defense, this should be the best time to attack. Lord of East Skygate tribe sneered and said, Lame duck, you can't escape. Ha ha ha. While they were talking, his eyes stared straight at Holy Spirit Angel's chest. Holy Spirit Angel was a little displeased and said, Disciple, do you want me to kill him? No need. He's mine. While they were talking, Long Fei descended from the sky once again, identical to the sword technique from before. Lord of East Skygate tribe disdainfully said, Another sword attack like that, lame duck is simply useless, do you understand? You are not my match at all. Is that so? Long Fei's sword pierced down. His strength was still the same. Even if he used all his strength, there wouldn't be much of a change. Lord of East Skygate tribe was the same as well. He released the defensive power of the wild beast and his body became like an iron wall as he disdainfully said, You overestimate yourself. Everything was the same. The only difference was, there was still a King Kong fierce bear above Long Fei's head. Long Fei's sword pierced down. The King Kong fierce bear landed a palm strike on the demon sword's hilt. I'll nail you to death. Explode for me. Chapter 1747, Bodyguard upgraded. Chapter 1747, Bodyguard upgraded. The infernal sword was like a nail. The King Kong fierce bear was like a hammer. He moved at full power. The hammer smashed down. I will nail you to death. Long Fei roared. Lord of East Skygate tribe was also dumbfounded. He never thought that the King Kong fierce bear would suddenly rush over and face the pressure of the bear paw. The only thing he could do right now was to increase his defense. However, too weak. The King Kong fierce bear's power suddenly exploded. Rumble, rumble, rumble. With a series of thunderous booms, the King Kong fierce bear seemed to have broken through the barrier as it smashed its palm onto the demon sword, and the demon sword instantly penetrated through it. Crack. Just like a nail, it pierced straight through the chrysanthemum of Lord of East Skygate tribe. It was firmly nailed to the ground. It was also at this moment that the gash on the top of Lord of East Skygate tribe's head dropped to the bottom with a whoosh, turning into 0. One hit kill. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lord of East Skygate Tribe for obtaining 190,000 experience, 20,000 holy power value, and 1 abnormal value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining arrogant beast boxing. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining wild beast defense. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining advanced beast mastery. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 101 divine spirit pills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining golden feather sword. A series of notifications sounded. The chiming didn't stop, and it felt great. Ha ha ha. It's great to have a boss. Hearing these notifications, Long Fei was extremely excited. He then looked at the items that were dropped and muttered, "What are these abnormal values used for? Golden feather sword? I have the demon sword, I don't need it." Then, only 2 techniques are left. Defense. If you don't want to, the best defense is an attack, and if you can just kill him instantly, then the only thing left is the arrogant beast boxing. Long Fei made up his mind. And then, Long Fei gave the order, release the metamorphic energy value, the arrogant beast boxing. Ding. Metamorphic energy value at 0, abnormal arrogant beast boxing. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Berserk Beast Divine Fist. Do you wish to learn it? After transforming, there was one more word to describe the arrogant beast boxing Wild God's Fist. There didn't seem to be much change, but just the word God was enough to crush everything. And then, Long Fei moved and said, "Cultivate." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for training Berserk Beast God Fist. Cultivation technique, Berserk Beast Divine Fist grade, pervert consumption, 1000 holy power value cooldown, 600 seconds description. The Raging Beast God Fist has 108 moves, each move is the power of a divine beast, depending on the player's cultivation. It can be the power of a Chileen, the power of the Underworld's Guardian, or it can also be the power of 9 tails. Simply put, the power of every one of the 108 punches was different. These power were all from a certain type of wild beast, demon beastess, could also be divine beastess, ancient divine beastess, and also the power of those super abnormal monsters in games and anime. The strength of the 9-tailed firefox was inevitable. If he could unleash the power of one of his punches, then Long Fei's eyes were blazing as he was ecstatic in his heart. He muttered to himself, "Abnormal energy is indeed strong." Long Fei was greatly surprised every time he released his metamorphic energy value. Never disappointed. This abnormal feeling. I like it, ha ha ha. However, level is the source of power for all. I need to level up quickly, Long Fei muttered to himself. At this time, Lord of East Skygate Tribe was instantly killed. All of the East Skygate Tribe disciples were scared silly, they panicked and fled everywhere. At this time, all they wanted was to live. The King Kong Fierce Bear's voice sounded in Long Fei's mind. "Boss, what should we do with them?" "What should we do?" Long Fei regained his composure, the corners of his mouth hooked up as he said, "Kill them all." These were all experiences, how could he miss them? Moreover, these people deserve to die. Long Fei said that he would annihilate the East Skygate Tribes, so he would definitely do it. This was the price that they had to pay. After receiving the order, the King Kong Fierce Bear roared and rushed out brazenly, killing anyone it saw without holding back. It was the king of this mountain range. "Ah! Save me. Please spare my life. Long Fei, we are disciples of the God Rare Sect's assessment. If you kill us, the God Rare Sect will not let you off. Long Fei, you have already killed Lord of East Skygate Tribe, and you have avenged Goddess Sect, don't kill to the end. Besides, the matters of the Goddess Sect is not limited to us. We are not the ones who killed your Goddess Sect's disciples." He kept shouting. Long Fei did not listen, he was currently testing the power of the Raging Beast God Fist. Boom! He punched out. A roaring blue-eyed tiger suddenly appeared on his fist. His fist descended and the tiger fiercely collided with full force, directly sending the disciple flying. His chest split open as fresh blood spewed out. Instant kill. Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei for killing East Skygate tribe subordinate Luo for obtaining 500 experience, 50 holy power value, and 1 abnormal value. One more punch. Boom. With the elephant stomp, the power on Longfei's fist changed once again, becoming even stronger. Every punch was stronger than the last, and the strength on each fist was different. 108 punches, 108 kinds of berserk beast strength. What kind of beast could he unleash would depend on Longfei's own cultivation. If he reached a certain level, all 108 punches would be filled with the power of the divine beast. Boom. 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 The final punch. Boom. Longfei exerted all his strength and struck out with his fist. Right above his fist, the image of a tyrant WM appeared. Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei, bodyguard Xiao Yang for leveling up. Current level, 33. Damn. The bodyguards have leveled up again. Longfei looked at his own experience slot and bitterly said, I only have half of my experience, yet you have leveled up. Do you want me to live? I'm clearly the one slaughtering the monsters. You didn't do anything but leveled up first. There's no logic in the world. Are there any laws? Longfei said with a smile. His experience did tell the bodyguard Xiao Yang to split up a little, but this did not affect Longfei much. Not to mention, Longfei was equally happy if Xiao Yang leveled up. He even hoped that he could give Xiao Yang all of his experience so that he could directly break through to the Great Complete Realm and reach the level of a Do Di. In that case, this bodyguard could be considered to have truly been formed. Then he would be able to walk sideways. Xiao Yang, my bodyguard. Ha ha ha. How much longer do you need? Longfei giggled, his heart was unable to restrain his little excitement. His heart was filled with anticipation. Chapter 1748, Junior Sister, You're Thinking of Spring. Chapter 1748, Junior Sister, You're Thinking of Spring killing everything that deserved to be killed. What should be burned? The envoy of the God Rare sect who had been enjoying the Tang family all night walked to the entrance of the East Skygate tribe valley. Watching everything that was happening in the valley, their expressions were indifferent, and they were not too shocked. Left envoy smiled, and said, Looks like we won't be coming here anymore. And then, the two of them turned into two streaks of light and disappeared, returning to the Tang clan. Sir Envoy, you're back so soon? I heard that this year, East Skygate tribe has a few talented disciples. Could it be that none of them passed? Tang Jiao Yuan had some doubts. After all, the East Skygate tribe was in an alliance with them. The right emissary said, From today onwards, there will never be another East Skygate tribe in this world. The left envoy said, Clan leader Tang, please allow Tang Lai to make some preparations, we are about to depart. Tang Jiao Yuan mumbled to himself, There's no longer a East Skygate tribe in this world. What do you mean? Could it be? The East Skygate tribe does not exist, and no one will destroy their entire clan? The destruction of a small sect like the East Skygate tribe was a common occurrence. Not surprising. However, there weren't any forces in this area that were strong enough to destroy the East Skygate tribe in minutes. Unless they met a few superpowerhouse, they could destroy the East Skygate tribe with just a thought. Tang Jiao Yuan felt a chill in his heart as a wave of fear rose up. This was the world as it was. If one was not the strongest, their strongest power could be annihilated at any moment. If the Tang clan wanted to rise up, and if they didn't want to be trampled on, the only way was to firmly grab onto the God Rare sect. Tang Jiao Yuan immediately nodded, I'll go get Laia. Tang Jiao Yuan did not tell Tang Lai about the East Skygate tribe's annihilation of the clan, because he did not think that this matter had anything to do with the Tang clan. East Skygate tribe's clan was exterminated. Longfei returned to the goddess sect. Kneeling in front of the old granny's grave, Longfei kowtowed and said, Granny, I have already made everyone in East Skygate tribe pay the price. Please rest in peace. Goddess sect. Longfei's mother had single-handedly created this sect. It had lasted for 1,000 years, and the reason why it had kept going was to wait for Longfei to appear. Without waiting for Longfei to make the goddess sect stronger, the guardian grandma died. Long Fei felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He still had a lot of things he wanted to ask the old woman about his mother. But now, the thread was broken again, and he didn't even know what his mother looked like. There was only one path in front of Long Fei, God Rare Sec. If he wanted to leave Devil Island, he had to find a way. He wanted to know everything about his mother, so he had to enter the God Rare Sect as well, because the God Rare Sect was the only place her mother had gone to. Mother, no matter what price I have to pay, I will find you. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly in his heart. He then stood up and said to Lu Qin and Mu Bing, if you guys have anything you want to go to, go ahead. Everyone had their own aspirations. Long Fei would not force anyone to do what he wanted to do. Lu Qin stared blankly for a moment, before saying, Sect Master, do you want to chase us away? Mu Bing said, we were orphans since young, and were adopted by my grandmother. Other than the Goddess Sect, we have never gone anywhere else. Long Fei said, the road I am going to take is very bumpy and dangerous, you have seen it too, the old granny and the other disciples are all dead, I am afraid you all. The tragic change in the Goddess Sect made Long Fei once again believe that he was a calamitous star, and that he was destined to be alone for the rest of his life. He could only be alone. Mu Bing said, I am not afraid, wherever Sect Master goes, we will follow. Grandma has always been waiting for your appearance, the Goddess Sect has always been waiting for your appearance, you are our Goddess Sect's hope, no matter where you go, we will follow you, this is our duty. Because you are our sect leader. Lu Qin nodded along with him, looking at Long Fei with a serious face. There was a time when she hated the man in front of her so much, now, she was a little worried that Long Fei would not want them. It was the second time in her life she had been so worried. The first time was when he was abandoned by his parents. When he was alone in the wilderness, he had that feeling of loneliness, that feeling of being on the verge of death. Long Fei looked at them and exhaled, then said, all right, then follow me. God Rare Sect should be beneficial to your cultivations. God Rare Sect, one of the Devil Island's Hall of Martial Arts training. Any warrior wanted to go in, and if they could be allowed to enter the God Rare Sect, it would be considered their home. Hearing Long Fei's permission, the two women immediately started laughing. Mu Bing's face reddened even more as he said in a low voice, we even need to accompany you for 3 days. Lu Qin was startled, he stared at Mu Bing and said, Junior sister, you are thinking of spring. Senior sister, aren't you the same? Little girl, since you dare to say senior sister, let's see if I won't slap you or not. Sovereign, save me. 2 days later. Tianyang City. When Long Fei and the other two returned to the Lan clan, Li Ruhua would wait at the city gate every day. During this time, Lei Ju was 100 times unwilling to go to the God Rare Sect. He wanted to stay, but in the end, he was persuaded by Lan Ya. People should look higher. When you become a disciple of the God Rare Sect, when you have seen all the bustle in the world, when you have seen everything clearly, then you can turn around and look. If you still like me, then I will always be waiting for you here. These were Lan Ya's words to Lei Ju. Lei Ju was completely dumbstruck at the time. Lan Ya liked Lei Ju, but he couldn't leave Lei Ju behind just because he liked her. A man should do what he was told, the only thing a warrior should do was become strong. Lan Ya's talent was not outstanding. She was unable to meet the God Rare Sect's standard of talent for the 3rd stage, and in her heart, she yearned to enter the God Rare Sect. Her father had given her the Lan clan's burden, so even if she had to grind her teeth, she had to carry the burden. It was also reasonable for her to give her all to help Long Fei. When Long Fei became stronger, he would also become more influential in the Lan clan. 3 days later. The envoy of the God Rare Sect has arrived. A voice echoed from outside the hall. Lan Ya was slightly taken aback, it was a full 3 days later than the agreed time. Without much thought, Lan Ya personally went forward to welcome them. Left and right envoys came here very quickly, and upon seeing Lan Ya, an evil smile surfaced on his face as he said, Patriarch Lan, you're getting more and more beautiful after not seeing you for a few days. Lan Ya felt uncomfortable, but he pretended to smile and said, Senior envoy must be joking. Left envoy said, I am not joking. If you are willing, as long as you accompany me for 1 night, I will make an exception and give you a special place. Her eyes were naked. He didn't try to conceal anything, and his voice sounded even more frivolous. Her face was filled with evilness as she looked at Lan Yue, and then moved around her chest. Chapter 1749, This Daddy Will Scare You to Death. Chapter 1749, This Daddy Will Scare You to Death. Lan Yue endured. Furthermore, he pretended to smile and said, "Thank you, Sir Envoy. Lan Clan still needs me, so I won't be going." Ha ha ha. Left Envoy laughed, then said, "Call out all the qualified disciples that your Lan Clan has recommended, we are leaving now." Lan Yue immediately said, "Senior Envoy, please rest for a while, I will go and call them out." And then he turned around. It was also at this time. Long Fei, Lei Ju, and the others were already waiting in the distance, having seen everything just now. Especially Lei Ju. He clenched his fists tightly and widened his eyes like an ox. The aura he exuded was also extremely hot, and it was filled with fury. His teeth were grinding so hard that crackling sounds could be heard. Long Fei lightly patted Lei Ju's shoulder. Lan Yue walked up to take a look at Lei Ju, and said, "I'm fine." Lei Ju clenched his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter, and said with a low voice, "Little sister Yue, I, Lei Ju, swear to the heavens, that I will personally dig out his eyes. I swear." Every word was filled with killing intent. Lan Yue said, "Hurry up, you can enter the God Rare sect, and even if I have to suffer even more, it's fine. Lei Ju, if you want to take care of me, then you must become stronger." Lei Ju clenched his fists. This world was like this. If you weren't strong enough, you wouldn't even be able to protect your own woman. Lei Ju was well aware of this point. Right now, he was like an ant in front of the two envoys. With a gentle squeeze, he would be crushed to death. He had to become strong. Long Fei slightly said, "Let's go." Lan Yue brought Long Fei and the others to the Great Hall. Other than being respectful to Li Ruhua, the other two emissaries were filled with disdain and despise for Long Fei. "Let's go. There are still people waiting outside." The left envoy said coldly. Lan Yue took out 2 bags of divine spirit pills and said, "Emissaries, take care of me along the way." Looking at Lan Yue, left envoy took it in one hand while grabbing onto Lan Yue's small hand with his right hand. He gently caressed it and said with a smile, "Clan leader Lan, don't worry. I will definitely take good care of them. Also, if you have decided, I can bring you to the God Rare sect at any time." Lei Ju was crying blood in his heart. It was roaring. Long Fei firmly held him down. Lan Yue pretended that nothing had happened and said, "Thank you, Sir Envoy." Left envoy laughed lewdly, his eyes once again staring at Lan Yue's chest, and said without concealing it at all, "Ha ha ha." Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Lan Yue immediately looked towards Long Fei and gently shook his head. And then, Lan Yue also pulled back his hand, and said, "It's getting late." Left envoy did not plan to stay any longer. He weighed the divine spirit pill in his hand and said, "Clan leader Lan, I will be back. Let's go." The envoy from the right shouted. Lei Ju turned around and looked at Lan Yue. His eyes were firm as he said to Lan Yue, "Little sister Yue, I will definitely fulfill the oath I made. You must wait for me, I will definitely come back and marry you." Finished. Lei Ju turned and walked out in large strides. However, what he said just now made the two emissaries laugh coldly. Tianyang City, East Gate. Tang Lai and a few Tang clan disciples were waiting. Tang Lai looked at Tianyang City and said faintly, "Tianyang City is only SOSO, there's nothing special about him." One of the disciples echoed, "There are only a little bit more people in Tianyang City. Big brother, we will capture him after we return from God Rare sect." Exactly. A small Tianyang City is nothing. Our Tang clan will take down all 10 cities. Brother Lai, 8-level talent, you're a super genius. Once you reach God Rare sect, don't let those Elder of Inner Houses snatch you away. When that happens, the Tang clan will soar into the sky. Even the God Rare sects in 10 sects would rarely see the 8-level talent, right? That's not it. Tang Lai's face revealed a pleased smile. 8-level talent, a group of super geniuses. Even the two emissaries treated him with utmost respect. From this, it could be seen how powerful his talent was. Waiting until God Rare sect was bound to cause a sensation. At that time. Money, status, what does it matter what a woman wants? What does it matter to a mere Mu Bing? Tang Lai laughed coldly in his heart. Mu Bing, not becoming my woman will be the thing you'll regret the most in your life, ha ha ha. At this moment, two emissaries walked up to him. The three disciples of the Tang clan stepped forward to welcome him. Tang Lai did not move. He was a 8-level talent, so he didn't need to cater to the envoy at all. Instead, it was the envoy who fawned on him. But, at this moment, Tang Lai discovered a few familiar figures. His eyes were staring straight at Long Fei, and at the same time, Long Fei was also staring at him. Tang Lai? Lu Qin whispered. Mu Bing was also slightly shocked. The left envoy said slightly, let's get to know each other, and take care of each other on the way here. These are all disciples of the Tang family, and here are the disciples of the Lan clan. You guys should get to know each other. Right envoy, left envoy shouted. The right envoy nodded and said, you guys wait here. We'll go summon the spirit channeling flying bird. God Rare sect was quite far away from here. If he were to use his feet to walk, he probably wouldn't be able to reach here even in 100 years. There was only one way to go to such a large sect, the psychic flying bird. After the two emissaries left, Tang Lai immediately walked forward and smiled. Junior sister Mu Bing, we meet again. Are you going to the God Rare sect to take the entrance exam as well? In the past, Tang Lai at least had some status in his heart, so he could be considered a friend. After all, Tang Lai had helped the goddess sect before. But now, Mu Bing did not even put him in her eyes, and coldly said, could it be that you went to the God Rare sect to play? A Tang clan disciple immediately shouted, what are you talking about, brother Lai? Tang Lai immediately glared and said, did I let you interrupt? The Tang clan disciple immediately lowered his head. Tang Lai laughed, junior sister, let's go together during the assessment. I can take care of you. Who is your junior sister? Tang Lai, am I very familiar with you? Please don't call me junior sister in the future, this will cause people to misunderstand. As they spoke, Mu Bing held onto Long Fei's arm and said infatuatedly, I don't want sect master to misunderstand. Critical hit. Instant kill. This ambiguous look, this intimate action directly dealt a critical hit to Tang Lai. The woman she liked had taken another man's arm in front of him. Tang Lai's expression immediately changed, he spouted out anger, stared at Long Fei fiercely, and said, you dog, you dare to steal my woman? Who do you think you are? Anger soared. Long Fei grinned and said, if no one else was here, you would already be a dead man. Ha ha ha. What arrogant words. Brat, who do you think you are? Do you know what grade of talent our Liang Ji possesses? 8-level talent, a super genius. You dare to speak to brother Lai like that? Are you tired of living? The three Tang clan disciples walked up and shouted. 8-level talent. Wow, how amazing. Long Fei pretended to be shocked, then laughed. Tell him how much my inherent skill is. Lan Feng said, 10 rating. This time, Tang Lai was completely confused. Chapter 1750, Flying Crane. Chapter 1750, Flying Crane. The 8-level talent is awesome. My 10 rating. Of course. Seeing Tang Lai's stupefied expression, everyone beside Long Fei started laughing. It was very obvious that they were trying to scare him by saying that Long Fei was a 10 rating gift. However, they didn't know that Long Fei's inherent skill had actually reached the 10 rating. Although the inherent skill grade didn't seem to be of much use to Long Fei, it was still pretty good for him to act tough. After all, this was the 10 rating gift. If the 8-level talent was a super genius, then his 10 rating would suppress an existence of a super genius. But no one knew anything about Long Fei's 10 rating gift. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Look at his stupefied expression. It's really funny. Lei Ju laughed. Lan Feng also laughed and said, you must be scared half to death, ha ha ha. Tang Lai knew that he had been played, and his expression turned sinister as he laughed coldly. You think only you can reach the 10 rating gift? If you are 10 rating gift, I'll eat shit. A Tang clan disciple also shouted, you're clearly a piece of trash, and you even have 10 rating gift. Just you guys also want to scare our young master. What morals do you guys have? How many people with 10 rating gift in the entire Devil Island? Exactly. Lu Qin took a step forward and said, Tang Lai, take care of the dogs beside you. If you dare to spew shit all over your mouth, be careful of me making it so that they won't be able to speak for the rest of their lives. Very cruel. It was no joke. The expressions of the 3 Tang clan disciples turned cold as they did not dare to continue speaking. Lu Qin's cultivation was much higher than theirs. Tang Lai sneered, Junior sister Lu, why not follow me? With just the potential of my 8-level talent, passing God Rare Sect's examination is a piece of cake, and you too can even be elder of Inner House's disciples. With me taking care of him, I believe that you 2 sisters will do well in God Rare Sect. How is it? Being with me is much stronger than him. Long Fei said, I will dig a corner of my wall with my face in between, sure enough, but can you move it? Just as he finished, Lu Qin also walked back to Long Fei's side, one hand holding onto Long Fei's other arm, while his head lightly leaned on Long Fei's shoulder. With a face full of charm, an obedient, blissful woman, she looked like a completely different person. In my heart, there is only Master Lin. Phut! Tang Lai spat out another mouthful of blood in his heart. Staring at Long Fei, he almost wanted to eat Long Fei whole. Cluck, cluck. Tang Lai gritted his teeth and said, Long Fei, just you wait, watch how I crush you in God Rare Sect, stepping on you under my feet. Long Fei did not take it seriously at all. Naturally, he did not place Tang Lai in his eyes either. At this moment, Long Fei and the others did not know that the one who killed the old granny was Tang Lai. They did not know that Tang Lai had killed all the female disciples of the goddess sect. Tang Lai is already dead. Tang Lai was the same. He did not know that Long Fei and the rest had returned to the goddess sect and destroyed it, or else he would have exposed himself. In another place, the left and right envoys were using the spirit communication technique to summon the flying demon beast. At the same time, the 2 of them were also discussing something. Senior brother, that sword's aura is very strong. Even now, I still haven't been able to tell its rank. I estimate that even if it doesn't reach the divine level, it's not far from the divine level. With this sword, our strength will increase by quite a few levels. Now we should find a place. The left envoy slightly nodded and said, then let's go to Evil Ghost Ridge, it just so happens that we are going to take a break there. When the time comes, inform the Evil Spirit sect. Heh. The right envoy immediately laughed, alright, let that kid live a few more days, ha ha ha. While they were talking, as their strength surged, a massive formation appeared on the ground. With a flash of light on the formation, a powerful cry resounded through the skies. The light disappeared. A huge iron hand eagle appeared on the array. Bigger than a Boeing plane. It was fully armored, and its pair of eagle eyes were extremely sharp, making people feel intimidated at first glance. Long Fei and the others were also shocked. Looking at the iron hand eagle in the distance, their expressions trembled. What a ferocious flying beast. They were all extremely shocked. Lu Qin stared at the iron hand eagle and said, this is a iron hand eagle, a type of flying beast that only exists in the God Rare Sect. It's the lowest kind, able to travel tens of millions of kilometers per day. It's extremely fast. There are many of these bird God Rare Sect S, and the most powerful one are the flying crane. They can fly tens of millions of kilometers in an instant, but I heard that only the sect leader of God Rare Sect can use this kind of bird. Mu Bing said. Flying crane? Long Fei remembered this in his heart, and said in his heart, this old granny once said that a flying goddess came out of the God Rare Sect. Could it be because of the flying crane, or is it? Is Mother riding on a flying crane and leaving the Devil Island? Tens of millions of kilometers in a single thought. This speed. Even the vast continent could be traversed over. Perhaps. This is really it. Long Fei secretly tensed up. At this time, left envoy walked back and said, follow me. Tang Lai walked in the front. The 3 disciples of the Tang clan followed closely behind him. Long Fei still looked up at Iron Hand Eagle, his heart shaking. This is just like a superfighter jet. Lei Ju revealed an envious expression. If only I had an iron hand eagle like that too. Go wherever you want. If you want to return to Tianyang City, you can meet the Tianyang City. Even after he left, he was still worried about Lan Ya. Lu Qin slightly said, God Rare Sect is indeed one of the 10 sects. This kind of flying beast called the Iron Hand Eagle is almost at the heaven stage, but it's still the lowest level of flying beast. Too powerful. The shock that the Iron Hand Eagle had towards their hearts was simply too strong. A few minutes later, everyone was standing on the Iron Hand Eagle's back. The envoy on the right lightly reminded them, sit well, all of you. The idea moved. Take off. The Iron Hand Eagle spread its 100-meter-long wings and after flapping a few times, it suddenly flew up and in an instant, rushed towards Yun Xiao. Shua. Hualala. The wind was ear-piercing and incomparably fast. Li Ruhua was so scared that he did not dare open his eyes. A Tang clan disciple screamed out in fear. It was really scary. However, a few seconds later, the cloud layer slowly calmed down. The few seconds just now, as everyone thought about it, most of their faces were incomparably pale. It was as if he had experienced a life-and-death battle. Long Fei's face was calm, without any changes. This kind of impact, this feeling of being on the edge of life and death, to him was nothing, because he was already used to it. Left envoy glanced at Long Fei, his heart feeling slightly shocked. This is my first time sitting on an Iron Hand Eagle, and I'm not afraid. Chapter 1751 Air Interception. Chapter 1751 Air Interception. Even they were scared half to death the first time. Long Fei's expression did not change, nor did his heart beat. If they knew what Long Fei had experienced, they might even understand. Brother Fei, are you not afraid at all? Lei Ju's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. Lu Qin and Mu Bing also looked at Long Fei. The two of them had clenched their fists and tightly grabbed onto the Iron Hand Eagle's feathers, afraid that they would fall down. Long Fei faintly smiled but did not reply. Tang Lai laughed coldly. TCH, it's not that he isn't afraid, he's just scared to death. He doesn't even have time to react. I think he's so afraid that he almost wet his pants. What are you still pretending for? Tang Lai's complexion quickly recovered. He was also shocked a moment ago, but compared to the others, he felt a little better. This was because the left envoy had already sent a sound transmission to him from the very beginning, telling him to get ready. This was the special care of the 8-level talent. This made Tang Lai even more pleased with himself. Tang Lai, what's with your tone? Mu Bing shouted. Tang Lai disdainfully said, Junior Sister Mu, he was clearly scared to death, yet he still pretends to not be afraid. This kind of person who pretends to be noble and noble is definitely not good stuff. You better be careful while following by his side. Mu Bing took Long Fei's arm again and said, I'm willing. Who are you? Can you control it? Humph. Tang Lai stared blankly. He was so angry that he wanted to rush over. However, this was from the back of the Iron Hand Eagle. If he accidentally fell down, his 8-level talent would become a gift of the dead. Long Fei didn't pay any attention to Tang Lai. Left envoy slightly shouted out, stop quarreling, quiet down. If anyone doesn't want to go to God Rare Sect, you can say so right now. I'll kick him down. He didn't want anything to happen to Long Fei. Long Fei had an incomparably powerful devil sword on him. Tang Lai coldly snorted, stared at Long Fei, and said, Brat, just you wait. Long Fei ignored him from the start. A full day later. Suddenly, the cry of an eagle sounded. Li Ruhua immediately pointed, look, there's another Iron Hand Eagle over there. As soon as he finished, everyone was startled. Especially left and right envoys, the two of them immediately tightened their eyes and said, everyone, be careful. One stood on the head of the Iron Hand Eagle, and the other on the tail. He had to say it. The two emissaries' cultivations were very strong. They stood in uneven spots, and the backs of the Iron Hand Eagle that were flying extremely fast actually did not waver at all. It really was the 8 winds that didn't move. Under this kind of speed, It was impossible to achieve without a certain level of cultivation. At this moment, Shua, the iron-hand eagle in the distance, suddenly changed its course of flight and disappeared into the clouds. Huff. Left envoy exhaled slightly and muttered, "Seems like they are also afraid of our attacks." Before he could finish his words, Long Fei raised his eyes slightly. Head. Hualala. The strong wind raged like a tsunami. That iron-hand eagle suddenly pressed down with a powerful pressure. The iron-hand eagle that Long Fei was sitting on let out a few cries, its level clearly going to whisper to the iron-hand eagle above. Long Fei immediately said, "We got it." Left envoy moved, the iron-hand eagle moved to the side and slowed down, dodging the attack. The envoy from the right shouted with a thunderous voice, "Who is it?" "TSK, TSK. Of the God Rare sect, obediently hand over your disciples. If you do that, we will spare your pathetic life." That iron-hand eagle also slowed down, and still landed on top of Long Fei and the others' heads. It was also at this time Left envoy saw the standard of a iron-hand eagle, and his eyes darkened. "Xiao Yarrow Palace. Ha ha ha. If you know that we are from the Xiao Yarrow Palace, then quickly hand over your disciples and don't let me make a move. Otherwise, all of you will die." Xiao Yarrow Palace. One of the 10 sects. He was ranked 4th in terms of overall strength, above the God Rare sect. The disciples of the Xiao Yarrow Palace were cruel by nature. They would go around killing and robbing others, and would commit all sorts of crimes to prevent other sects from recruiting disciples. Left envoy's eyebrows tightened, and said in a low voice, "This is troublesome." She then turned to look at Long Fei and the others. Right emissary immediately said, "Senior brother, we." Left envoy looked at Long Fei, then looked at Tang Lai, his fists slightly clenched as he said in a deep voice, "Xiao Yarrow Palace's senior brother, please give me face. There are 1,000 divine spirit pills here, please accept." The 8th-level talent was rich, he did not want to miss it. He did not want to miss the devil's sword in Long Fei's body. "Wow. You asked for 1,000 divine spirit pills as soon as you opened your mouth. It seems that you have recruited quite a few disciples this time, huh?" The people from the Xiao Yarrow Palace all started laughing excitedly. "If that's the case, I won't let you off. Hurry up and hand over everyone. There is a limit to my patience." Long Fei stared at Left envoy and asked softly, "How many people are on their iron-hand eagle?" Left envoy rolled his eyes at Long Fei, but did not answer. Lu Qin said, "Under normal circumstances, there would only be 2 people, but there are also special situations." Long Fei said in a low voice, "They will definitely hand us over. I will go over first, and after I go over, you guys will not come over, understand?" "Master. Brother Fei." Everyone's face tightened. Long Fei shouted, and said, "This is an order. If 2 of them were a hurricane burst boxing that could be killed in an instant, if 3 of them..." Long Fei's heart tensed up. "Forget it, let's take a gamble." Moreover, honestly speaking, the powerhouse that Long Fei had entered into before had never exploded in his life in the 10 sects. These 2 were definitely experienced. It must be great. If that was the case, then he couldn't afford to miss it. The envoy from the right said, "Senior brother, our iron-hand eagle are not a match for them, we." It was exactly as Long Fei had expected. They wouldn't risk their lives just for Long Fei and the others. This was because life was always the most important thing. Left envoy shouted in a deep voice, "All right, we will hand over the disciples." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The people of Xiao Yarrow Palace let out arrogant laughter. "God Rare sect's dogs are really obedient, hurry up and do it now." Buzz. A heaven stairway was thrown down from the sky. Long Fei was the first to stand up. At this moment, Left envoy immediately shouted, "You are the last one." Long Fei asked, "Why?" The Left envoy said slightly, "Don't mind it so much, I told you to be the last one." Where did all this nonsense come from? He did not want to give up on Long Fei. He wanted to escape the moment Xiao Yarrow Palace's guard was down. He did not want to let go of either the 8th-level talent or the devil's sword. Moreover, he was very clear in his heart that the people of the Xiao Yarrow Palace would definitely not let them off. Even if he had to hand over all the disciples, they would not let him off. Anyway, Other than Tang Lai, Li Ruhua, and the others, the rest of them were just cannon fodder. They did not care about life and death. Chapter 1752, Who's Courting Death? Chapter 1752, Who's Courting Death? However, Long Fei didn't care that much as he said coldly, I don't care what plan you have, but since you've recruited us over, then you have the duty to protect us, and you've done nothing at all, cowering like dogs. How dare you? Kid, who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to teach us a lesson? The envoy from the right shouted. Long Fei sneered, I'm not that old, but I'm not scared. Finished. With one step, he climbed up the heaven stairway and climbed up the back of the Xiao Yarrow Palace's Iron Hand Eagle. Brat, stop right now. Left and right envoy's face was clearly a little anxious. Long Fei had that devil's sword on him after all. If he fell into Xiao Yarrow Palace's hands, the devil's sword would naturally leave them behind and wouldn't be let off. Immediately, the right emissary took a step forward and pulled Long Fei, and shouted, Brat, I let you be the last one to go up, didn't you hear me? One of the envoys from the Xiao Yarrow Palace shouted, Let him go, get him to come over here. If you dare to stop him again, be careful of my rudeness. The right envoy immediately became terrified. He didn't dare to say much. He could only watch as Long Fei climbed up. At this time, he felt extremely unhappy in his heart, as the devil's sword was already far away from him. Tang Lai watched Long Fei's back as he slowly climbed up, and said disdainfully, truly a brainless person, to actually send himself to his death. When Lei Ju heard it, he immediately scolded, Tang Lai, King say one more time. Tang Lai immediately asked, Who do you think you are? Shout in front of me? I already said it, he's just a brainless, useless trash, so what about it? Bite me. Lei Ju's eyes spewed out flames of anger. At this moment, Lu Qin suddenly stood up and said, Lord of Xiao Yarrow Palace, he is the 8th-level talent, the one with the highest talent amongst us. Left and right envoys and eyes darkened as they stared at Lu Qin. Tang Lai was dumbstruck, he had never thought that Lu Qin would suddenly use such a method. His face was pale white. He immediately looked at the two emissaries and shouted, I am not an 8th stage innate ranker, I am just a trash with a 3rd stage inherent skill, I. He was so scared that his entire body began to tremble. He was very clear about how the Xiao Yarrow Palace did things, it was extremely cruel. If he fell into their hands, he definitely wouldn't be able to live. The envoy of the Xiao Yarrow Palace sneered, You don't even need to look to know that you are trash. He didn't spare Tang Lai another glance. As if he had received an amnesty, Tang Lai revealed a cold smile. He stared at Lu Qin and said, Bitch, King wait. Lu Qin never thought that the people from the Xiao Yarrow Palace would actually look down on Tang Lai. Lu Qin also did not give Tang Lai another glance, but upon seeing that Long Fei was about to climb up, he became a little worried. Left and right envoys was also looking at Long Fei. Both of them were still unwilling, but they could not do anything about it. Huff. Damn thing, if you had followed us, you would have been able to live a few more days. But now, you are asking for death, Left envoy said fiercely in his heart. Long Fei climbed onto the Xiao Yarrow Palace's Iron Hand Eagle and thought to himself, we must not have too many people, we must not have. The moment he climbed up, his eyes went blank for a moment. There was a huge cage on the back of the Iron Hand Eagle and the cage was filled with young disciples. There were also a few elders who looked like they were the envoys of a sect. They were imprisoned like slaves and they saw that Long Fei's eyes were a little numb. Some voices sounded. Another one. Yet another person has come to die. These people were all disciples who went to the 10 sects to take the examination, and were all captured by the Xiao Yarrow Palace. There were more than 20 of them. Long Fei's heart trembled as he looked at the other places on the Iron Hand Eagle's back. His hurricane burst boxing could only kill 2 people in a second. Now that there were 4 of them, in that case. Long Fei secretly tensed up. At this moment. Lame duck, what are you looking at? One of the emissaries walked up and gave him a kick. Kicking towards Long Fei's chest, Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Brush, that's it. Virtual mirror, Wang. Long Fei's body suddenly disappeared, The emissary was caught off guard, he did not have time to react, and with one kick, his body became unstable as he leaned forward. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly appeared behind him, his right fist moved, berserk beast divine fist. Boom! The strength of a mighty elephant burst forth. Ah! The envoy was immediately knocked off his iron hand eagle by Long Fei, and he let out a miserable scream. It was also at this time. Lu Qin and Mu Bing stood up at the same time. The sect master has made his move, let's go. Wait, left envoy shouted, no one is allowed to go up. The right envoy immediately said, seize this opportunity. The idea moved. The iron hand eagle suddenly accelerated and directly threw the heaven stairway into the air. He ran away. Senior envoy, Big Brother Long Fei is still up there. We cannot leave him alone. Li Ruhua stood up. Sit down. Left envoy shouted and ordered the iron hand eagle. Speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up. He was very clear about the Xiao Yarrow Palace's way of doing things and would definitely not let them off. If he did not leave now, when would he leave? As for Long Fei, he could only give up. Who told him to court death? Lu Qin and Mu Bing struggled, but they could not do anything. Tang Lai started laughing loudly. He was grinning from ear to ear, and said, I already said he's a retard, ha ha ha. Mu Bing, Lu Qin, I will take good care of you two in the future, ha ha ha. Scram. Why don't you go and die? Mu Bing and Lu Qin shouted at the same time. Left envoy looked at the Xiao Yarrow Palace's iron hand eagle that could no longer be seen and said softly, Brat, this is your life. Left and right envoys escaping was a good thing for Long Fei. At least, Lu Qin and the others would not be hurt. The three emissaries immediately landed in front of Long Fei and shouted, Little bastard, you're courting death. Before he finished his sentence, he had already disappeared. Long Fei could not react at all. The difference in speed was too fast, and the level difference was too big. Brat, be careful behind you. An elderly voice came from inside the iron cage. Long Fei frowned and immediately shouted, Holy Spirit Angel, Holy Spirit Defense. Buzz. 99% of his attack immunity was released on his body. Long Fei was not afraid. He turned around to face the attack. Boom. Long Fei retreated, a 3-digit number floating above his head was damage. He was secretly shocked in his heart. Damn, what a terrifying power. Since the envoys of the 10 sects were this powerful, then the words of the other powerhouse. At this time, Long Fei did not think much of it, his fists moved, and he said, Holy Spirit killing, Holy Spirit Angel's power moved, and a beam of light penetrated through. Shua. The other 2 envoys also rushed over in an instant. Their speed was extremely fast, however. Long Fei was already prepared. I have long been prepared for you all. Hurricane burst boxing. Let's see who seeks death. Chapter 1753, Genius Girl. Chapter 1753, Genius Girl. One punch turned into a twin dragon. Boom. Boom. He directly sent the 2 envoys of the Xiao Yarrow Palace down the Iron Hand Eagle, and at the same time, the Holy Spirit Angel's Holy Spirit Kill was also blasted out. Similarly, he blasted the Iron Hand Eagle down, but, different from Long Fei, Holy Spirit Angel did not instantly kill him. A voice came out from midair, Kid, I'll remember you. Go to hell. 2 notifications sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for defeating Xiao Yarrow Palace Disciple for obtaining 188,888 experience points. God Power, 18,888 points. Abnormal Energy, 1 point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10 Divine Spirit Pills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. Several small items dropped, but it wasn't much. Long Fei stood on the Iron Hand Eagle's back and disdainfully said, My death? Your father is still alive and well. At this moment, all of the captured disciples in the iron cage stood up, their faces were full of gratitude. Among them, there was no lack of beautiful women looking at them with admiration and adoration. In their eyes, Long Fei was a hero. Long Fei said, Don't worry, I'll let you guys out right now. But, just then, the Iron Hand Eagle suddenly let out an angry hiss. It suddenly started to shake. An old man immediately said, "The Iron Hand Eagle's spirit communication technique has been dispelled, and it has returned to its original form. Everyone be careful. Hurry, 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 and let us out. Hurry, hurry, and let us out. Kid, what are you doing? To make you hurry up. I'm a disciple of the Heavenly Spirit sect. I'll be the first to leave, move out of the way." The Iron Hand Eagle was like a wild horse that had escaped from its restraints. It became irritable and restless. It shook crazily in the air, spinning crazily, wanting to throw Long Fei and the iron cage down. This was something that Long Fei did not expect. Once the person who signed the spirit communication technique with the Iron Hand Eagle died, the demon beast would recover itself and its wildness. For a proud demon beast like the Iron Hand Eagle, it would never lower itself to anyone. Holy *T. The plane is about to crash. Long Fei cursed silently. Seeing the struggling people in the iron cage, he did not go up to open the iron gate, but instead, tried to think of a way. The iron gate was fixed on the back of the Iron Hand Eagle. Of course. Long Fei did not care about their lives, he just did not want to waste that time. Kid, what are you doing? Do you want to fucking die? Hurry up and open the cage, you dog. What are you arguing about? We are relatively safe in the iron cage. Can't you see that the Iron Hand Eagle did not throw us out? Suddenly, a woman's voice shook with some violence. Her aura immediately suppressed all the auras surrounding her. Everyone was silent as they looked at her. The two elders were slightly shocked. This aura is very special, could it be? The number one disciple specially recruited by the Shenyang sect, and one of the top 10 geniuses that appeared in the Devil Island in the recent few years, Nylin? As soon as he finished, everyone was shocked. Others might not know, but there was no one among the younger generation that did not know of the name Nylin. She was ranked third in the 10 disciples, and also the only female in the 10 disciples. She had the highest talent in the legends, and the existence of the 10 rating gift. He was accepted by the Shenyang sect very early on. However, he never thought that she would be stopped, and luckily no one knew of her identity. Otherwise, the envoys of the Xiao Yarrow Palace would have already returned to the Xiao Yarrow Palace. She looked at Long Fei and asked, "Can you control Iron Hand Eagle?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "I can't control it." Even though his spirit communication technique was of the divine rank, it was impossible to instantly control the berserk Iron Hand Eagle. How could he possibly control the Iron Hand Eagle? That's right, he isn't a spirit master. A few sounds of contempt came from the surroundings. The spirit communication technique wasn't something that just anyone could cultivate. It required a strong talent for the spirit communication technique. Nylin immediately said, "Then if you help me, I'll control him." Everyone was taken aback. The two emissaries were also stunned as they looked at her. They only knew that Nylin was an exceptionally gifted genius, but they never thought that she was even a spirit master. Long Fei didn't think too much about it. This was a distance of tens of thousands of meters in the air. If he were to fall down, he would definitely be smashed to smithereens. Moreover, Long Fei had already released all the skills that he needed, but now he did not have any that could protect his life. Long Fei immediately asked, "You're helping me like this?" Nylin said, "Let me out first." Long Fei looked at her and said, "All right." Long Fei walked to the front of the cage, took out his demon sword, and slashed, clang. The moment the demon sword appeared, it immediately attracted countless gazes. His sword. So powerful. It's completely crimson red and surging with energy. Furthermore, it carried an intense killing intent. It should be a devil sword. She was different from the others. She could not handle the 4 envoys from the Xiao Yarrow Palace, but Long Fei beating them all down showed that Long Fei was not a simple person. To be able to reach such a level with a cultivation of 7 stars, in her heart, Long Fei was very strong. Then, Nylin was the first one to fly out. In an instant, her feet lightly touched the ground, and like a dragonfly touching the water surface, a ray of light formed beneath her feet. Her body moved, and in the midst of the strong air current, she instantly landed on top of the Iron Hand Eagle's head. A crisp bell sound rang out in the air. Then, Nai Lin's aura instantly shrank and entered the Iron Hand Eagle's sea of consciousness. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. The ferocious gaze of the Iron Hand Eagle changed to a gentle expression, and it instantly calmed down. In 3 seconds, he subdued the Iron Hand Eagle. The level of this spirit communication technique, this talent. It was simply a strong display of power. Long Fei was dumbstruck, his heart was shocked. What a powerful spirit communication technique. In 3 seconds he was able to subdue the rebellious Iron Hand Eagle. It had to be known that these traitorous Iron Hand Eagle were much harder to tame than normal eagles. However, she only used 3 seconds. As expected of the third place on the 10 disciples ranking, he's really strong. The old man said enviously. Xianyang sect strength will increase by another level this year. If the third place is already so strong, then to what extent will the first and second place be? With this spirit communication technique, she is definitely the new king of the year. This is secondary. Did you not discover her beauty? Oh peerless beauty, I have never seen such a beautiful one. Beautiful and powerful. If anyone can marry her, that would be a good life. Nai Lin's expression did not change at all. She was tired of hearing praises. She walked to Long Fei's side and said, "Thank you for saving us." Long Fei laughed indifferently, "You saved me too. My name is Nai Lin." Long Fei also said, "Long Fei." Chapter 1754, Who's the Slag? Chapter 1754, Who's the Slag? Half an hour later. On an empty hillside, the Iron Hand Eagle had landed. The captured disciples all dispersed. They all came to thank Nai Lin, but no one remembered him. Long Fei didn't mind. Nai Lin asked, "Where are you going?" Long Fei replied, "God Rare Sect." Nai Lin was startled, and said, "God Rare Sect." In recent years, the decline in strength of the God Rare Sect had been so great that they were almost pushed out of the ranks of the 10 sects. If they were to lose this year's newbie battle, they would really be pushed down. Nai Lin said with good intentions, "Why don't you follow me to the Xianyang sect? With your cultivation talent, I believe that the Xianyang sect will accept you." She was very optimistic about Long Fei. Moreover, what she said was not an ordinary acceptance, but an inner sect disciple. Long Fei said, "Thank you, but I still have to go to the God Rare sect. After all, I am a disciple that they have recruited. If I go to another sect, it will cause unnecessary trouble." God Rare sect had to enter. Even if it was a trash sect, Long Fei would still enter. He had to find a way to leave the Devil Island and find information about his mother. Seeing the resolution in Long Fei's eyes, Nai Lin did not try to force it, and said, "Then I will not force it. If you do not pass God Rare sect's test, then come to Xianyang sect to find me." Then, Nai Lin felt that he had said the wrong thing, and laughed, "I'm kidding. With your talent, how could you not pass the assessment? Long Fei. We shall meet at the exchange meeting of the new disciples of 10 sects." Nai Lin said seriously. She believed that Long Fei would definitely appear at the tournament. It would become her rival. Even. She would become her most powerful opponent. The punch was split in half. Adding on the strange woman that Long Fei had summoned, the layers of cultivation technique was something that he had never seen before. Long Fei cupped his fists and said, "We will meet again if fate wills it." Nai Lin leapt onto the Iron Hand Eagle with one step, and flew away with a few other disciples of the Xianyang sect. So powerful. Is the 10 disciples this strong? Long Fei was secretly shocked. Ever since he had entered the ancient holy battlefield, he did not feel that they were very strong, but after meeting Nai Lin, he realized that those people he had met before were trash. The real powerhouses were all inside the 10 sects. She was only ranked 3rd. How strong was the 10 disciples? It looks like 10 sects is pretty fun. Long Fei smiled slightly. At this moment, the 2 elders who were about to leave with their disciples stopped in their tracks. Long Fei had also noticed it long ago. They were also God Rare sect's envoys. That elder walked forward and said, "Little brother, I just heard you say that you were going to the God Rare sect. Long Fei nodded his head. The elder laughed. Then come with us and be our companion. It's just that we don't have any Iron Hand Eagle-s, so we can only rely on our feet to walk. However, we should be able to make it in time for the assessment. Long Fei said, Thank you, elder. Ha ha ha. We still have to thank you. If not for you sending the people of Xiao Yarrow Palace flying, I'm afraid that we would have already reached the Xiao Yarrow Palace. The consequences would be hard to imagine. He smiled slightly. Yeah. We should thank you. Long Fei joined them, and headed straight towards God Rare sect. Along the way, the messenger told Long Fei everything about the God Rare sect. Elder, did Flying Goddess really fly out of Devil Island? No one knows the specifics of this matter. In any case. But of course, she left behind a lot of assets. All of these things made the God Rare sect only be able to become one of the 10 sects in a short few years, and after 1,000 years, all of the things that the Flying Goddess had left behind have been used up, and our God Rare sect gradually weakened. Sigh. If we do not reap the rewards from this year's rookie exchange, our God Rare sect might really be squeezed out of 10 sects. The old man let out a soft sigh. The God Rare sect had always relied too heavily on the things left behind by the Flying Goddess. To the God Rare sect, he really needed a person who could carry a cauldron. Otherwise, it would only be a matter of time before they squeeze out of 10 sects. Long Fei did not care about what the old man said after he finished his sentence. He kept thinking in his heart, if it flew up, it would disappear. Flying Goddess should be mother. She was the first to leave the Devil Island. How did you do it? Does it rely on the time laws that she comprehended? Long Fei's mind was filled with questions. He really wanted to know everything, but he had to walk through it step by step to find out. He couldn't help it. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, looked at the sky and thought, Mother, I will definitely find you. Right. Elder, doesn't God Rare sect have flying crane? It could travel 1,000 miles with just a single thought. With such a godly crane, why would it not fly out of Devil Island? What about entering the ancient holy battlefield to earn merits and then reviving the God Rare sect? Long Fei asked. The elder laughed bitterly. Flying crane? It has not appeared for hundreds of years, so even sect master himself would not know whether it actually exists or not. Also, even if there is a flying crane, we can't leave the Devil Island. Because the people of our Devil Island are all people that have been cursed by gods, and this continent is also a continent that has been cursed by gods. Long Fei's heart sank. Phew. From the looks of it, there was a huge barrier at the edge of Devil Island's limit. This should be. It was established by a sovereign, right? Can't we just break through the barrier and get out? The elder's eyes were filled with desolation as he muttered to himself, Ancient holy battlefield. A fighter's dream. Entering the ancient holy battlefield was every warrior's dream. They all wanted to throw their heads away, shed blood, and go all out. However, all of this was an unattainable extravagant hope for the people of Devil Island. Too far away. 10 days later. At the foot of the God Rare sect. Li Ruhua and the others had arrived a long time ago. Today was the assessment's day. I need to find the sect leader. The moment Mu Bing jumped off the Iron Hand Eagle, he immediately walked back. Lu Qin was the same. Long Fei was the last worry in their hearts, and right now, they had no way of knowing whether he was dead or alive. Even if they did not have to take the examination to directly become an inner disciple of the God Rare sect, they were not interested in him. The left envoy immediately stopped them, coldly snorted and said, I don't care what is going on in your heads, but I want to tell you that Brat is already dead. If you go, you will also die. Whether you die or not has nothing to do with me, but don't affect us. Each left envoy sent out an order badge. Take it. These are your identity tokens. If anyone dares to run away without permission, don't blame me for being rude. Humph. Tang Lai walked over and said complacently, Junior Sister Mu Bing, don't worry. I will take good care of you in the future. At this moment. Who was the trash? Is my woman in need of your care? Chapter 1755. We're arrogant. How can that be? Chapter 1755. We're arrogant. How can that be? Master. Brother Fei. Big brother Long Fei. Long Fei, you're still alive. In an instant. Lu Qin and Mu Bing immediately ran over. They were so excited that they were about to cry. Lei Ju, Li Ruhua also walked over. Tang Lai was startled, and revealed an extremely unhappy expression. Left envoy and envoy of the right looked at each other and revealed a hint of a smile at the same time. They never thought that Long Fei actually survived Xiao Yaro Palace's Iron Hand Eagle. And then, the two of them also walked over. Long Fei, how did you survive? Left envoy then gave Long Fei an identity badge, and said, no matter how you survived, you will be tested immediately. This is your identity badge. Long Fei took the order badge, and said, understood. At this moment, the envoy that came with Long Fei to the God Rare sect walked up, looked at Long Fei and smiled, then said, little friend Long, with your strength, there's no need for an assessment. Do you want me to recommend it to the elders? Left and right envoy's face was shocked as he said respectfully, Elder Xia. Xia Chuyuan waved his hands, not caring about the two emissaries on his left and right, but looking at Long Fei, as if he was waiting for his answer. Long Fei waved his hand, and said, I think it's best if I take the examination myself, and use my strength to prove everything. Ha ha ha. Well said. Prove everything by relying on strength. Xia Chuyuan nodded and said, I think very highly of you. Kid, don't disappoint me, and remember what I told you. If you have anything else, you can come and find me directly. I don't dare to say anything else, but I still have some weight in my words. While he was speaking, he looked at left and right envoys. He had seen Long Fei's devil sword before, and had especially reminded him not to use it so easily. Long Fei said, thank you elder. Left and right envoys' expression changed slightly. They stared at Long Fei and wondered in their hearts, what exactly is the relationship between this kid and Xia Chuyuan? The one who was even more shocked was Tang Lai. He was completely stupefied. You actually want to recommend him? What is he? This brat must have given that old geezer quite a bit of benefits. That must be it. Otherwise, with just his rank 3 talent, how could he possibly get the favor of the elders? He would definitely bribe them. Despicable and sinister villains, Tang Lai said in disdain after Xia Chuyuan left. Long Fei slightly raised his eyes, walked in front of Tang Lai and said, surnamed Tang, I really don't want to bother with you, but if you keep provoking me, I will slap you to death, understand? Killing intent filled his eyes. Just because he ignored Tang Lai did not mean that Long Fei was afraid of him. Tang Lai was staring at him with thick killing intent, but he was actually unable to move, as if he was being stared at by the god of death. Half a minute later. Young master, young master. Tang Lai's body shook as he reacted. Looking at Long Fei, they had already walked to the examination grounds. He clenched his fists tightly and said, Long Fei, I won't let you off. Hand over your identity token. Name. Long Fei. All right, you can go in now. Long Fei took back his identity badge. 2 words appeared on the surface of the badge, which was his name. In front of him was a door to space and time, which should be a small plane. Long Fei could not help but ask, Clan Elder, may I ask how will the assessment be carried out? Are there any rules? That elder didn't even raise his eyes as he said, cut the crap. Once we enter, we will know. Trash with a 3rd grade talent is just acting as cannon fodder. Long Fei's eyes darkened. And then, Lei Ju was in a bad mood, but he was stopped by Long Fei. Finally, the few of them entered the space and time gate together. Buzz. The spatial gate twisted, as though layers of ripples were spreading out. In that instant, the strong light was so blinding that he couldn't even open his eyes for a moment. Where is this place? This is the examination grounds. How does the examination work? Lei Ju and Lan Feng started to mutter. At this moment, a few disciples dressed in God Rare sect clothes walked over, carrying disdain in their mouths, and said, Here, right in front of us is Yixian Peak, and there are bandits everywhere. If you want to go, I can lead the way. 100 divine spirit pills per person. Lu Qin immediately asked, Are you God Rare Sect's disciples? That's right. Can't you see what we're wearing? We are all official disciples. A disciple arrogantly said. Lu Qin asked, then is there no one to care about you all like this? Who cares? Who cares? A disciple shouted. Lu Qin said, you are all robbing me. What's a robbery? Are we robbers? This is called a fair fee, should we pay it or not? If you don't hand it over, you won't be able to pass through the Yixian Peak in front and will be beaten back to your original form. Wherever you come from, there will be no return and our God Rare Sect won't send you off. Ha ha ha. Muggles, don't waste your time. You guys are simply unable to pass the exam with your current strength. Long Fei looked at the mountain peak in front of him and said, is that the Yixian Peak? That's right, it's over there. A disciple said. Long Fei said, as long as you pass Yixian Peak, I will pass the first round of examination, right? Yes. Kid, without us leading the way, you won't be able to make it. The disciple sneered. Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei then walked out, and Lu Qin and Mu Bing immediately followed him. None of them paid any attention to the four of them. Huh? The four of them stared blankly. A disciple said, was it because I didn't explain it clearly enough? Still, they didn't understand. Immediately, that disciple rushed to Long Fei's side and said, Brat, I just said that I can guide you through each person's 100 divine pellets. Thank you. No need. Long Fei waved his hand, we will barge through by ourselves. The disciple was stunned, he stared at Long Fei's face for a few seconds, and then burst out laughing, ha ha ha. With just you. A trash with a 7-star cultivation? Try another piece of trash. Lu Qin glared at him furiously. Trash, 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 I said it 3 times, so what? The disciple yelled in annoyance. Pa, 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 pa. 3 slaps instantly landed on his face. There was almost no gap, he didn't even see how he had attacked. Long Fei's eyes darkened, and said, let's talk about it again. Try one more time. F***CK. The other 3 disciples immediately ran up and pushed Lei Ju away, and stared at him. Brat, you're very arrogant. Lei Ju and the others were not afraid of living here, they immediately surrounded them. The 6 of them immediately surrounded the 4 of them. Lei Ju shouted, and said, we are arrogant, what are you going to do about it? Sure. All of you have guts. Just you wait. If you can pass today's exam, I will take your surname. A disciple shouted in anger. Wait. Chapter 1756, Desperate Man, NPC? Chapter 1756, Desperate Man, NPC? Robbery? Long Fei had never played this game before. Hard. Come on, I've never been afraid. The 4 disciples quickly retreated, rushing towards the direction of the Yixian Peak. Mu Bing said, Sect Master, could they be in cahoots with the bandits of Yixian Peak? Why are they also going to the Yixian Peak? Long Fei laughed, and said, since the ancient times, there has always been a nest of robbers. Since the ancient times, they have always been on the same side as us. We are here for the assessment, not to bribe. If we want to enter the God Rare Sect, we must use our own strength, and not rely on these bystanders to get through. Long Fei said sternly. Everyone was startled. Long Fei looked at the steep mountain peaks in the distance and muttered, bandits? I was really afraid that there weren't any bandits, so I took the opportunity to level up. He was just worrying about not finding a chance to level up. And then, Long Fei brought them to the Yixian Peak. Fuck, hit lousy. I will definitely let you die here today. These trash, offend lousy, watch me deal with you like this. The disciple who was beaten up was very angry. At this moment, from high up in the Yixian Peak, a burly man walked out. When he saw the 4 of them, he immediately said, "For sirs, why have you come? Isn't today's assessment just beginning? This should be the time for you to make a huge profit." One of the disciples immediately said, "Don't say any more. Hurry and call your chief desperate man out." The tall and sturdy man was slightly surprised. He was stunned for a moment, Then the disciple with a pig head that was beaten into a pig by Long Fei instantly went berserk, went up to the disciple and kicked him. Didn't you hear what I said? You dog, you don't want to live anymore? Immediately call out desperate man, bam! With a fierce kick, the burly man was sent flying. Not daring to get angry, the burly man slapped the ground and said, I'll go right now. He didn't dare to say anything. He didn't dare to get angry. The surrounding disciples of the Yixian Peak village were all the same. How preposterous. Against Laozi? The disciple said angrily. A disciple asked softly, Senior brother, is it not good for us to do this? Furthermore, if the things that we do are discovered, I am worried that. Pa. Without waiting for him to finish, he slapped him again. The senior brother shouted, Are you King crazy? Is this the first time you've done this? Without a door great presbyter here, who do we have to be afraid of? Discovered. Who will find out? The beaten disciple immediately lowered his head and said, Yes, yes. Not long later, a man dressed in white with the appearance of a scholar walked out. His body seemed to be moving, his legs were not occupying the ground, and even the wind was blowing. Powerful character. My lords, what orders do you have? The scholar asked. That senior brother immediately said, Kill someone for me. No. Kill 6 people. Finished. The senior brother looked into Desperate Man's eyes and said solemnly, This is the order of the great clan elder. Desperate Man's gaze tensed up, and he immediately said, Understood. At the foot of the Yixian Peak, there was a narrow path between the 2 mountains. Standing at the intersection, Long Fei looked up into the sky, saw a trace of sky, and said faintly, This should be the Yixian Peak. From this moment onwards, be on full alert. This place was very dangerous. If there were ambushes on both sides of the valley, it would be very dangerous. Everyone nodded. Long Fei took a step forward as his aura was slowly released. The valley was abnormally quiet. Other than the sound of the wind, there were no other sounds. After Long Fei and the rest walked for about half an hour, Lei Ju muttered and said, Maybe they are just scaring us, Brother Fei, it's very safe, there's nothing wrong. Don't let your guard down. Long Fei had not finished speaking. Suddenly, a white shadow flew past. Hualala. His clothes fluttered in the wind and then disappeared in an instant like a female ghost. Cold sweat appeared on Lanfeng's forehead. He heavily swallowed his saliva and said, Did you see that just now? What was that white shadow? Is it a ghost? Long Fei looked up at his surroundings, shouted, Don't worry about it, just give it your all to break through. Lu Qin, Mu Bing, you 2 open up a path. Lanfeng, Lei Ju, you 2 block the rear. Are you Hua, you are in the middle. Charge out in one breath. Speed. Everyone, remember, act according to my plan. Remember. Long Fei warned repeatedly. Since it was a mountain bandit, then he could not be let off. He would treat it as getting rid of the evil for the people. Long Fei felt a dangerous aura. Mu Bing and Lu Qin also reacted quickly, they rushed out with all their strength. Li Ruhua, the one with the weakest cultivation, stood in the middle. Long Fei stayed behind. A small team charged out madly just like that. You want to escape? No way. Rumble. Rumble. An intense sound echoed from the ancient peak. Long Fei's heart tightened. Not good, there's a falling stone. Sovereign, be careful. Boom. A gigantic boulder separated Long Fei from them, and an explosive sound rang out in front of them. In that instant, Li Ruhua and the others who were in front of them were also blocked by the gigantic rolling boulder. Shua. 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 One figure after another fell to the ground. One after another, the sound of their backs' footsteps could be heard. Ha ha ha. You want to escape? Let's see where you guys can run to. Don't even think about leaving. Ha ha ha. A group of bandits roared, surrounding Long Fei and the others until not even a drop of water could trickle through. Right at this moment, a white figure landed, and silently landed in front of Long Fei. Both of his eyes looked at Long Fei with a shocked expression. And Long Fei was the same. What's going on? It's not gold. But there's light on your body. It's a boss. Is it even a quest NPC? Or something else? This made Long Fei extremely suspicious, because this was the first time Long Fei saw the desperate man in front of him flashing with a light other than that of a boss's halo. What the hell? Long Fei secretly felt that it was strange. He had thought that there was a boss in this bandit's lair, but now it seemed that it wasn't a boss, but a mutated NPC? It was too strange. The expression in Desperate Man's eyes was also somewhat surprised. In his mind, he felt as if he had seen those eyes of Long Fei somewhere else. Even if he had never seen it before, he had seen the exact same look in her eyes. However, this was something in his mind, and he could not recall it at all. Desperate Man coldly said, "Just surrender." Not waiting for them to make a move. Long Fei raised both his hands, and said, "I surrender." In another place, Lu Qin and the others did not resist either, and shouted directly, "We surrender." This was Long Fei's plan. Chapter 1757 Formidable Bodyguards. Chapter 1757 Formidable Bodyguards. They're all a bunch of cowards. Leader, should we kill him now? Or do you want me to bring it back to the village? The desperate man did not have any time to think, and directly said, "Bring them back to the mountain stronghold. Remember, without my order, no one is allowed to take action, understand?" "Yes, sir." The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly, and he thought to himself, "That's more like it. Bring him back to your place, that way I could easily kill him." Just these bandits blocking the road were not enough for Long Fei to eat. However, the aura of the desperate man was very strong. Long Fei's mind was filled with thoughts on how to deal with the desperate man. Other than the blasting fist, he could not think of any other method. And in Desperate Man's heart, he had always been thinking, just where did he see that kind of gaze before? Why did it appear in my mind? Why am I here? Why? Desperate Man frowned. Thinking about it caused his head to feel a bit of pain, as if some kind of confined force had locked his mind, causing him to be unable to break out of some memories. It was very uncomfortable. He was a person who liked to earn a lot of money. Whenever there was something that he couldn't understand, he would always think about it. The more he thought about it, the more his head hurt. The bag looked like it was about to split open. From the moment he could remember, he had been working for the Outer Door Great Presbyter in this small plane. But why was he here? He only knew that he was brought here by the Outer Door Great Presbyter. He only knew that his name was Desperate Man. The rest of the memories were unknown. When he saw the look in Long Fei's eyes that he had seen before, the memories in his heart suddenly opened. His mind was in a mess. Half an hour later, the bandit brought Long Fei and the others to the mountain stronghold. "Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Brat, continue being arrogant. Didn't you say you were pretty unreasonable an hour ago? Now you dare be arrogant again. I've said it before, I will definitely kill you today. It is now in your father's hands." The senior brother that was beaten up by Long Fei walked to Long Fei's side. A cold smile hung on his face as he stared at Long Fei. "Come, let this daddy see how arrogant he is." While they were talking, he slapped Long Fei's face. He wanted revenge. He wanted to return it back to Long Fei 10 times over. However, before his palm could land on the ground, he felt a sharp pain on his face, and his body suddenly flew to another place. It fell to the ground like a dead dog, blood trickling from the corner of its mouth. Long Fei was stunned. Lu Qin and the others were also stunned. Because the one who acted was not Long Fei. The one who attacked was the desperate man. Even he himself was stunned. That slap just now was extremely forceful. He didn't even know what had happened. Why would he attack the great elder's subordinate? Was he crazy? However, in his mind, there was a type of idea that was controlling him. The moment that senior brother struck down, that idea gave out a command, and his body couldn't help but be controlled. Yi Zichen slapped him back. Very heavy, very fierce. "You, desperate man, do you want to F*** King Rebel?" a disciple said fiercely. The other 2 disciples quickly helped the senior brother up. "You dog, Lousy sees that you're tired of living, even daring to hit Lousy. Someone, come." Kill them all. Including Desperate Man. The bandits slightly moved. The Desperate Man was their head. However, the senior brother said, if you don't kill him, all of you will die. Do you know what the great clan elder did? And then, the bandits trembled slightly, their eyes filled with fear. They were well aware of the first elder's methods and did not dare to offend him. Leader, I'm sorry. We have no other choice. Brothers, let's attack together. If he doesn't die, then we must die. Attack. Suddenly, the tall and sturdy man roared, and all of the bandits rushed forward, towards Long Fei, Lu Qin and the rest, towards Desperate Man and the rest. The 4 disciples sneered in disdain, those who oppose us, will all die. At this moment, Long Fei shouted, do it. Shua. Shua. Lu Qin and Mu Bing took the initiative to attack first. 2 people, with 2 swords, had directly pierced through the 2 bandits' chests and sent their bodies flying. At the same time, Long Fei also moved his fists, raging beast divine fists. Boom, boom. 2 fierce tigers charged out and killed the 2 bandits. Ding, ding. Congratulations player Long Fei for killing bandits of the bandit. You have received 1000 EXP, 100 holy power value, and 1 abnormal value. Good experience. Continue. Kill them all. Long Fei shouted, staring at the 4 disciples with a sneer. He said, we still don't know who lives and who dies. Boom. With a punch, one of the bandits was killed. Long Fei looked at Desperate Man. Just now he suddenly attacked to help him, but now he was only dodging, he did not retaliate, and he had been looking at Long Fei. His gaze never left her. Why? What the hell is going on with him? Why are you helping me? Long Fei also had many doubts in his heart, but the most important thing right now was experience. Just a single word, kill. Over 100 bandits rushed over in a frenzy. They advanced forward, even if they were afraid, they would still bite the bullet and advance forward. If they wanted to compete with Long Fei, the one they were more afraid of was the great clan elder. The 4 disciples also shouted, kill them all, kill them all. If you can't kill them all, you will all die. Kill. Ha ha ha. Kid, let's see how long you can hold out for. The 4 of them crossed their arms as if they were watching a show. Suddenly, Long Fei suddenly moved and landed in front of them. The faces of the 4 tightened. Long Fei thought, let's try again. The 38th punch. Jiyu Xiong fist. Boom. His fist punched out and a huge ancient elephant stomped out, creating a powerful impact and knocking the senior brother down onto the ground. At the same time, the 2 disciples attacked at the same time. His speed was extremely fast. Furthermore, they were all greeting Long Fei with their killing moves. Long Fei did not dodge. He wanted to test it again. Shua. The white silhouette flipped and a fierce wind blew. A sword blocked the attack, and in that instant, a white light flashed. Clang, clang. 2. Poochie, Poochie. The 2 disciples' chests were cut open. The health point above his head quickly bottomed out. 1 sword kill. The Desperate Man also had a face full of doubt. He had no idea why he had charged into that strike just now. Just to protect Long Fei? Long Fei was also extremely shocked in his heart, looking at the distance between the Desperate Man's. Damn, this speed is too ferocious. This sword art. Sharp. Moreover, I can't see his depth at all. Long Fei became excited. Could this be another awesome bodyguard? Chapter 1758 Strong Second Generation. Chapter 1758 Strong Second Generation. What happened to that person? Why did he save the sect leader twice? That's right. How strange. Don't say too much, let's kill these bandits first. No matter how strange it was. However, things still had to be done. It was just like Long Fei, who did not dare to test again, because Desperate Man's first move was absolute killing. He had lost all his experience. Wait until we kill them all. Immediately, Long Fei's speed increased, and the raging beast god punch continued to explode outwards. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 8 stars. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his bodyguard Xiao Yang to level 34. Fuck you, mother. I leveled up again. Could it be that if I leveled up, my bodyguard would level up? Bite. Long Fei grinned excitedly. Xiao Yang had leveled up and his strength had increased by another level. He would wait until he reached the peak and directly become a Do Di. Not long after, the entire mountain stronghold was filled with corpses. No one could move. Only Long Fei's group of 6 and the desperate man remained. Desperate man continued to look at Long Fei. The expression in his eyes was complicated. He was filled with doubts. He felt a little lost. Long Fei asked, "Do you have anything else you want to say?" Desperate man saw Long Fei's mouth move, and in the end, he still asked, "Who am I?" Huh. Are you asking the wrong questions? You should be asking us who our sect master is, right? Everyone laughed. Desperate man's face was serious as he asked again, "Who am I?" Long Fei could tell that he was serious. He shook his head and said, "I don't know who you are, no matter how I feel about you." Lei Ju immediately said, "Brother Fei, you like men?" Lu Qin immediately spouted, "You're the one who likes men." Mu Bing played with the corner of her clothes and muttered, "Sect master has never allowed us to sleep. Could he really be? Sect master, do you really like men?" Long Fei's forehead had 8 black lines. "Isn't this too dirty? I don't know what else they're thinking." Desperate man also tightened his chrysanthemum and said, "I don't have this kind of hobby." Long Fei said, "The feeling I'm talking about is different. I feel a little familiar, but I do not know you. This is very strange. I can't possibly say that I have the system, and the light I see on my body isn't ordinary, right?" Long Fei could only say that it felt very special. Desperate man immediately replied when he heard, "Me too, your eyes seem to have seen it somewhere before. Moreover, I don't know why, but there's a powerful subconscious in my mind. Once you encounter danger, it will erupt and control me, letting me block everything for you. Even if I die, I will block it. I can't control myself. This isn't my idea at all. Just what is this? And who am I? Why would they protect you? Why should I be here?" A bunch of questions. Desperate man really didn't know. He really wanted to know everything. Long Fei was stunned, especially because his eyes made Desperate man feel that he was familiar with him. At this moment, his heart suddenly sank, and he couldn't help but think of a person. Mother. The old granny of the goddess sect had also once said that her eyes were very familiar, just like her mother's. Thus, Long Fei seriously looked at Desperate man as he thought of this, and thought in his heart, "Is this the bodyguard mother arranged for me?" At this moment, Long Fei's heart felt warm. It was as if a warm current had passed by, and an indescribable warmth filled his heart. The first time. This was the first time Long Fei felt the power of maternal love. An indescribable warmth. Regardless if Desperate man was his mother's bodyguard, there was one thing that Long Fei was sure of: Desperate man was definitely related to his mother. The same thing happened with the system. Huff. Long Fei exhaled, raised his head to look at the sky, and muttered, "Mother, where are you? Go back the way your mother went." It was as if everything had been arranged. Only the system could trigger the goddess scroll. Furthermore, she had been waiting for him here for so many years. Even she herself did not know who her own desperate man was, so all of this was not a coincidence, but a kind of arrangement. Moreover, Long Fei seemed to have made some sort of arrangement. Was this the great prophecy? Or was it? Was this fate? Long Fei did not believe in fate. There was only one possibility for him to overturn fate, and that was that his mother knew the great prophecy technique of the Long family. Suddenly, Long Fei laughed softly in his heart, and thought to himself, "I suddenly feel like I'm the strongest second generation. My father entered hell, and I estimate that before long, he will be the king of hell. Mother is even more powerful. I have comprehended the time laws, but I don't know just how strong I am now." Others were rich second generations. He was from the second generation. Moreover, he felt that his parents were getting stronger and stronger. This feeling was pretty good. The desperate man was still waiting for an answer. If there was anyone in this world who could give him an answer, he believed that it would only be Long Fei. Long Fei withdrew his train of thoughts, looked at Desperate Man and said, "From now on, follow me." Desperate Man was stunned. Long Fei continued, "I will give you all the answers you want. I'm also looking for an answer." Lei Ju said in a low voice, "Brother Fei, that's not good. After all, he is the great clan elder's man." Long Fei shook his head, "Don't worry. I believe him." Long Fei said, "You can follow me or leave at any time, but I can guarantee you that I will find the answer for you, and that I will be the only person in this world who can give you the answer." Desperate Man thought for a moment, then said, "Okay, I will follow you." This was his mission. Under certain circumstances, he would go and die for Long Fei. This was his life. She was one of the many bodyguards that Long Fei had arranged for. However, Long Fei's mother, Mu Wanna, was far more powerful than he had imagined. He couldn't imagine how powerful it was. And then, the group of people headed towards the exit. So powerful. The 8th-level talent is too powerful. The first stage of the examination only took half an hour. I have to say, his talent is astonishing. He should be this year's God Rare Sect's new king. This year's 10 Sects Exchange S will definitely have one of his spots. Junior brother Tang Lai, I love you. Tang Lai was the first one to pass the examination. Moreover, he didn't get it by bribing, but by relying on his own abilities. The 8th-level talent was not fake. Tang Lai was elated, a smile hung on his face as he thought of Long Fei. He sneered in his heart, "Long Fei, in this era, it's just relying on background and talent. You are not my match at all, ha ha ha. Just you wait. I will crush you with absolute power." Chapter 1759, Competing Talent. Chapter 1759, Competing Talent. The first trial wasn't that difficult. Most people can pass. However, but there were no such people as Long Fei. What? All dead? How outrageous. Who would be so daring? Halfway up the God Rare sect, in an outer sect, in a huge courtyard, an old man was furious. His eyes were staring at a disciple in the hall like they were bells. The disciple trembled a little. He was well aware of the great elder's ruthless methods and immediately said, "It's the assessment disciple led by Long Fei. Take the disciple test. Just a few disciples from the assessment can destroy my Yixian peak? Impossible. There must be someone backing them up." Great Elder did not believe that just with a few examination disciples, they would be able to destroy his Yixian peak and his 4 official disciples. If it was that strong, what was the point in taking the exam? He directly became an official disciple. That disciple said in a trembling voice, "Great Elder, I am not aware of this, but this is a disciple that I brought back from the Tianyang city. That Long Fei has a 3rd rank talent, and a woman has not only reached the 6th rank talent, but she does not have such a martial arts training. Immediately find the envoys that recruited them and investigate in detail." The Great Elder shouted. "A mere grade 3 martial talent trash dares to challenge me? I'm tired of living." The Grand Elder snorted coldly. The disciple quickly left. In the hall, an elder stood up and asked, "Brother Ma, do you need my help?" Great Elder Ma Fenglei immediately said, "It's just a small matter, there's no need for you to take action." "The thing I just told you." The elder smiled slightly and said, "Brother Ma, don't worry. I will definitely prepare some things for you. However, the number of divine spirit pills might increase. 1 million at the moment." "Huh?" Ma Fenglei frowned. The elder immediately said, "This is also the Lord's intention." Ma Fenglei smiled lightly and said, "Go back and report to him, I will prepare the divine spirit pill." "Ha ha ha. That's good." The old man immediately smiled. He then wrapped his arms around her and left. Ma Fenglei's eyes turned sinister, and he said fiercely, "Old fox, are you trying to raise the price? Just you wait till I get the Wind Lei Ju level technique, I'll make you look good." "Humph." Ma Fenglei flung his sleeves. He was furious. 1 million divine spirit pills was not a small sum. Even if he was a outer door great presbyter, it would be difficult for him to take out. It took him 10 years to find out. He was just a little bit away from gathering it all, but Something had happened to the Yixian peak, causing his assessment to be not getting anything. Otherwise, it would be enough. Long Fei, right? Little bastard, let's see who's behind you. Against me? I will let you know of my Ma Fenglei's methods. Ma Fenglei clenched his fists tightly, his joints popping out and his body releasing a light yellow qi that resembled battle qi, becoming extremely fierce. It was a huge martial arts practice field. This year's rookies were gathered together. An elder walked up and said lightly, "This is the second stage of the examination place. Also, this is the examination for alchemy, artifact forging, inscriptions, spiritualization, and beast taming. Although these jobs are not as impressive and powerful as the martial arts training, but these jobs are much more noble than the martial arts training. They can more determine your identity. In this year's newcomer competition and 10 sects' newcomer exchange, all of them will be participating. Don't worry about these jobs, they are more important than anything else. If any of you wish to take the test, you can register now." The second round's assessment was divided into batches. Split the examinee into two. There was still one more stage to the martial arts training, and it was much more difficult than the supporting job exams. Li Ruhua looked at Long Fei and said, "Big brother Long Fei, I want to go." Her martial arts training inherent skill was very clear to her. In the last stage of the martial arts competition, she would definitely not be able to make it. Long Fei nodded, "All right." At this moment, Long Fei took out the God Rare Sect badge that Li Ruchao gave him and said, "This is what your brother left for you. Keep it safe." Li Ruhua looked at the order badge. It was given to her by an adult when she was young. She did not expect that her brother was no longer there. Li Ruhua clenched his fists tightly and nodded, "Ian, I will work hard. Work together for my brother." And then, Li Ruhua walked out. Many disciples walked out. Long Fei did not move. Lu Qin, Mu Bing, and Lei Ju did not move. The alchemy inherent skill is low. Don't be discouraged. You still have a chance to refine a weapon or inscribe a formation. Low talent in equipment forging. No talent in inscriptions. All kinds of sounds were constantly heard from afar. No matter if it was artifact forging, alchemy, or spirit communication technique, they all required talent. If one did not have talent, then no matter how hard you worked, it would be useless. An exception would be someone as perverted as Long Fei. At this moment, Tang Lai looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, just the martial arts training is so boring, any warrior would have a supporting job, don't you have it?" Mu Bing stared at Tang Lai and said, "Tang Lai, why are you like a fly, so annoying? If you want to test your supporting position, then go. What are you saying in front of my sect master?" Tang Lai laughed lightly. "Junior sister Mu Bing, I was just casually asking, why are you so angry?" "All right, I understand, your sect master doesn't know anything." Lu Qin bellowed, "Young master Tang Lai, you talk coldly here." Tang Lai looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, what's wrong with hiding behind a woman? You don't even dare to fart. Aren't you 10 rating gift? Go check it out." Long Fei raised his eyes slightly and said, "Do you really want to test it?" Mu Bing immediately pulled Long Fei back and said, "Sect master, let's not bother with him." Lu Qin also replied, "That's right." Long Fei continued to ask, "What do you want to test?" Tang Lai said, "The spirit communication technique." When he was at the Tang family, he had already tested that his alchemy was very high and that he also reached the 8th-level talent. It was extremely sharp. It was as if he was stepping on Long Fei to emphasize himself. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "All right, since I learnt the spirit communication technique on the way here, I will test my talent." At the same time, the Sleeping Beauty said, "Master, I need 3 minutes to modify it." Long Fei said, "No need, whatever talent is useless to me. Can you let me tame a demon beast in an instant? What I need is this kind of power." The Sleeping Beauty was stunned and said, "You want to do that?" "Sure, but I can only use this power once." "Sure." The Sleeping Beauty muttered in her heart, "But I still have to help you raise all of your supporting positions to the 10 rating gift." Out of the way! Out of the way! Get out of the way! Our young master wants to test his talent in the spirit communication technique. Get out of my way. Chapter 1760, Acting Cool. Chapter 1760, Acting Cool, a secondary job or talent. Alchemy must have a sense of the spirit grass. To refine a weapon, one must know how to remove inscriptions. Psychic's technique. How to control the demon beast's thinking and make a contract with it. Regardless of which supporting profession it was, one would be considered one of the tens of thousands. It was an existence with incomparable difficulty. It was just as the elders had said, these supporting positions were much more noble than martial artists. A martial artist's talent was low and they were weak. You could still slowly practice with the help of the Hutian realm slaves. Although you couldn't reach a very high boundary, you could at least practice with them. However, these supporting positions were different. If you didn't have talent for supporting positions, you would never be able to step into this realm. This was the disparity between them. Get out of the way, didn't you hear? A few Tang clan disciples were menacing and aggressive. Tang Lai was the first ranker of the first round. The 8th-level talent was revealed. It was extremely mighty and extraordinary. One man gained the right to ascend to heaven as a chicken and a dog gained the right to ascend to heaven. His lackeys were also extremely arrogant. Mu Bing and Lu Qin followed behind Long Fei and said, "Sect Master, you don't need to compete with him." Exactly. Tang Lai is simply not qualified to compete with you. Master, you are the best in our hearts. The two girls talked non-stop. Long Fei smiled slightly. Are you all that unconfident in me? The two girls were stunned. Indeed. This was because they had heard that Tang Lai had an extremely high inherent skill, and was extremely powerful. Long Fei was not his match. At this moment, Tang Lai smiled slightly as he looked at Long Fei, and said, "Are you going to go first, or should I go first?" Long Fei replied, "It doesn't matter." He did not care about talent at all. He had the system, talent and so on were all trash. He did not need them at all. From the very beginning, he could not cultivate with the pubes's broken veins and veins, but wasn't he still from a low plane of existence in ancient holy battlefield? Inherent skill might be useful to others, but for Long Fei? Useless. Tang Lai laughed, "Since you're so confident, then you go first." However, he sneered in his heart, "Kid, watch me humiliate you like this." Long Fei took a step forward. "Put your hands on this beast's head and use your idea to sense its thoughts." Long Fei placed his hand on it, and the idea moved slightly. Half a second later, the black stone at the side revealed a little bit of a weak light, not a single piece. The result was out. The elder said, "Your spiritual talent is low, you are not qualified." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Tang Lai laughed out loud, pointed at Long Fei's nose and said, "Everyone come take a look, this is our 10 rating gift disciple, ha ha ha. He's the only one that's returning the 10 rating gift. The 10 rating gift is all-powerful, with this kind of talent, you're still not as strong as me? Then wouldn't I be 100 pints? Exactly. I still have 1,000 tails." Tang Lai stared at Long Fei, and said, "Long Fei, open your eyes wide and look clearly. Let's see what kind of talent I have." As soon as he finished, Tang Lai pressed his hand down. Half a second later, the glow on the black stone rose higher and higher until it landed on the 8th section. The few elders were completely dumbstruck as they stared at Tang Lai with their mouths agape, as if they could put in an egg. 8 sections of light. 8th-level talent. Too powerful. Genius, super genius. The distant left and right envoys was grinning from ear to ear. Heh. With the 8th-level talent and the 8th grade spirit communication talent, how high will the reward points for this sect be? Ha ha ha. The crowd was filled with amazement and envy. Tang Lai looked at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you want to compete with me? You don't even have the qualifications, do you understand? It's easy to step on someone like you." Long Fei slightly said, "Oh? Is that so?" And then, Long Fei looked at the demon beast behind an elder and said, "Elder, I'll lend you the demon beast." Without waiting for the elder's permission, Long Fei had already walked up. This was a mount. Long Fei walked in front of him and everyone was looking at him. What does he want to do? Is there something wrong with this person? What do you want? Suddenly, Long Fei moved, his hands quickly forming a seal. With him at the center, a dense amount of runes shone out. They quickly formed a formation, a spirit channeling array. How could this be? How is that possible? Who is he? How could it be such a high-level spirit communication technique? Even no one in our spirit channeling hall has the ability to use the spirit channeling technique. Just who is this kid? The spirit communication technique was divided into many different types. The spirit communication technique that Long Fei cultivated was the reward of the system. It was the divine-level spirit communication technique. Its success rate was multiple times higher than that of ordinary spirit communication technique, and of course, its mastery was also many times harder. Buzz. The fluorescent light vibrated as it fiercely landed on the ground. It immediately enveloped the demon beast rider. In that instant, the Sleeping Beauty's power moved slightly. Buzz. The mount trembled and suddenly stood up, letting out an angry roar. It was no longer docile like before, it had become manic and valiant, and the aura it emitted was even more unbridled. Roar. He let out a furious roar, and in that instant, the mount walked in front of Long Fei step by step, aggressively and aggressively. Sovereign, be careful. Brother Fei. That demon beast was 4 meters tall and had an overbearing lion king. Its mouth was wide open, and could swallow Long Fei in an instant. Just as everyone was worrying, the lion king walked to Long Fei's side obediently like a little kitten, licking Long Fei's leg with a cute face. Spirit beast communication. It's a success. Oh my god, it's only been a few seconds. This is impossible. The surroundings were completely silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. As if seeing a glowing treasure, the few spirit channeling elders drooled as they trotted up. My lord, how did you do it? His status as an elder directly called Long Fei master. It was the first time. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "That's exactly what I did." As he spoke, he gestured with his hands a few times. Then he walked to Tang Lai's side and said, "Is the 8th-level talent powerful?" "Awesome. Very arrogant. Still so arrogant." Her gaze was still as she stared at Tang Lai. Tang Lai's gaze tensed up. One of the lackeys beside him bellowed, "Long Fei, who do you think you are? You were just lucky just now." Long Fei shot a glance at him. "Who do you think you are?" While they were talking, the Lion King suddenly roared at that disciple. He opened his blood bowl and released an extremely savage aura. The Tang clan disciple was so scared that he peed his pants. His face was extremely pale. Long Fei stared at Tang Lai again. "Do you still want to compete? The genius of the 8th-level talent. Easy to step on me. Are you qualified?" Lu Qin laughed. "Senior brother Tang Lai, didn't you want to step on our sect master?" "Who stepped on who now?" 8th-level talent. Ha ha ha. Grade 8 trash talent is more or less the same, at this moment. The Sleeping Beauty said, reporting to Master, "All talents have been fully improved." If that's the case, then why don't you act cool? Chapter 1761 Immortal Gift Pack, 8 Immortals. Chapter 1761 Immortal Gift Pack, 8 Immortals. Tang Lai's face turned ugly. He thought that his 8th-level talent was enough to trample Long Fei, but Long Fei had subdued the head Lion King in an instant. This kind of ability was definitely above his, and even the Spirit Master Elder had revealed such a shocked expression. It was obvious that it was not that he found it easy to crush Long Fei, but that he found it easy to crush her. However, Tang Lai was unwilling. Tang Lai said solemnly, "So what if we have subdued a demon beast? Your talent is still low, Long Fei. Low-level talent, do you understand?" "Humph. I am a genius of the 8th-level talent. Do you have the qualifications to compete with me?" Many people said. Exactly. Talent determines everything. Just now was just a coincidence. Luck is not your strength. Many people joined in the clamor. The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised slightly, and laughed. You want to know my talent, right? Open your dog's eyes wide and see clearly. While they were talking, Long Fei pressed one hand on the beast's head, causing the idea to move. Immediately, the black stone at the side continued to glow and rush upwards. Buzz. The 7th section. Buzz. The 8th section. The 9th section. Oh my God, it's still rising. Everyone's eyes were fixated on the light on the black stone. In the blink of an eye, it had risen up once again. Wang. It stopped at the 10th section. Long Fei retracted his hand slightly. If he did not retract it, he was worried that the Sleeping Beauty's transformation would be able to break through the seal of the black stone. He walked in front of the pale Tang Lai and asked, "Can this inherent skill do?" Tang Lai's face became extremely ugly. Not waiting for him to speak, Long Fei walked to the side of the alchemy assessment inherent skill and made another move. Buzz. 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 The black stone's light exploded and shot up into the sky. Boom. When he stopped at the 10th floor, Long Fei withdrew his hand yet again. He could clearly sense that his innate talent was not only limited to the 10 rating. Is that enough? Long Fei turned around to look at Tang Lai, gave a cold laugh, and said, "It's not enough." He once again walked to the side of the refining talent test. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yet another series of explosions could be heard, and 10 rating gift appeared again. Long Fei turned around and shouted again, "Is that enough?" "It's not enough, is it?" "Then continue." The array was carved with 10 rating gift S Beast Master 10 rating gift. All the supporting positions, a total of 8. They were all 10 rating gift. Awesome to the point of being overbearing, it was as if the sky was exploding. The entire martial arts practice grounds was in an uproar. The entire outer sect of God Rare sect was in an uproar. Who is this person? Are you crazy? 10 rating, 10 rating, all of them, this. No one fight with me, he is my man, he is a man of my refining branch, whoever dares to fight with me, I will fight with him. Li Chu, why are you shouting so much? Alchemy is the way of the king, he's a member of our alchemy hall. Damn, his first test is the spirit communication technique. He's from our spirit connection hall. The 8 elders of the supporting occupation pavilion were all red with embarrassment from the lack of money, and they were on the verge of a fight. At this time, Tang Lai felt like he had been slapped in the face. That feeling was too unbearable. He was a joke. He was just a skin shrimp in front of Long Fei. Meanwhile, Long Fei was dumbstruck. Because, just as he reached the 10th level for the 8th supporting job, a system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward of all 8 element. Damn! Octopus! It can even activate the reward. Long Fei was secretly excited. The items rewarded by the system were definitely not ordinary. At this moment, a gift box landed on his system interface, and Long Fei clicked on it. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Immortals gift pack. Heh! Great Deity gift pack? It seems very awesome. What is it? Long Fei clicked to have a look, and 8 people suddenly popped out of nowhere. These 8 people were people Long Fei did not recognize. But he had seen it on television. 8 immortals. 8 immortals crossing the sea. Iron Crutch Li, Lu Dongbin, Han Xiangzi, Land Saihe, Immortal Lady He, Uncle Cao Guozhou, Elder Zhongguo, Han Zhongli. 8 immortals. Each of them brought their own magical equipment. They all possessed extraordinary battle prowess after attaining the immortal realm. Awesome. Long Fei was extremely excited. The 8 immortals have crossed the sea, they are all here. The 8 immortals all smiled. At the same time, they said, "Boss." Ha! Ha ha ha. Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear, and said, I do not dare, I do not dare. Then, he thought of something. Damn, what's there to be afraid of? Since the system has given it to me, I'll be their boss. The 8 Immortals Crossing the Sea was Long Fei's favorite television show after he was an hour old, so he was familiar with each and every one of them. To actually see a real person today, what kind of honor was that? The key point was, These 8 immortals were awesome. Long Fei looked at their battle mode. Invisible. Special space. Only Long Fei could see that the battle styles of the 8 immortals were all in a special space. Moreover, outsiders wouldn't even be able to detect them. If they could, then they wouldn't be immortals. Long Fei thought, the abnormal system is the abnormal system. To directly give away a big gift pack for immortals, will there be a big gift pack for anime in the future? A sci-fi gift pack? Heh. I like the feeling of a big gift pack. Master. Mu Bing and Lu Qin gently shook Long Fei. Long Fei recovered and was stunned. Seeing that Tang Lai was already gone, he could not help but ask, where is that Tang Lai? Him. If I had left with my tail between my legs, I probably wouldn't have dared to appear in front of you again. Mu Bing said while grinning. Lu Qin said, Sect Master, you should try to persuade them, they are already fighting. Huh. It was like a woman swearing. It was so noisy that it couldn't be opened. All of them lifted their sleeves, looking like they were about to fight. How could he not have the demeanor of an elder? What's the difference between him and a country bumpkin? Damn, what's going on? Long Fei did not expect such a situation to occur. We are all civilized people, why do we need to use violence? No one listened to him. Long Fei said once again, everyone, listen to me. Still no one listened to him. Long Fei waved his hand, and said, whatever you want, this daddy here can't be bothered to care, it's best if I beat a few to death. And then, Long Fei was about to leave. Xia Chuan walked over and said, Brother Long, you are the savior of our God Rare sect. Look at how much they are fighting for you. This is the second time in history. Huh? Long Fei asked, why is it the second time? Who was it the first time? Xia Chuan said, Flying Goddess, speaking of it, it's strange, she's the same as you. Mother. Long Fei's heart trembled. Is he really the owner of the system? Chapter 1762, Fantastic Boss. Chapter 1762, Fantastic Boss. All the signs were that his mother was not simple. Goddess Scroll. The desperate man's special memory control. Furthermore, with the current 8 elements almighty, if it wasn't the owner of the system, it would be hard for Long Fei to imagine how it could be this strong. Then his mother. He was so strong. Xia Chuan looked at the dazed Long Fei, and laughed. You have suddenly caused a sensation in the God Rare sect, and I'm afraid even the inner sect has caused a sensation. Kid, you're going to get angry. Long Fei scratched his head and said, Elder Xia, don't laugh at me. I don't want to cultivate anything else. After all, a supporting position was a supporting position, and Long Fei's main focus was not in this area. Xia Chuan said, the secondary cultivation can also be used, and will not hinder you at all. Furthermore, it will also provide you with more cultivation resources. An. Xia Chuan stared at Long Fei curiously and said, your information indicates that your martial arts training inherent skill is of the 3rd rank, I don't really believe that. Your 8 supporting positions are all 10 rating gift, so your martial arts training inherent skill is definitely not low. Brat, tell me, what is your martial arts training inherent skill? Long Fei smiled slightly and said, what do you think? Xia Chuan looked at Long Fei's smile and said, good kid. Long Fei did not say anything, but Xia Chuan had a feeling that Long Fei's talent was not low, and was possibly 10 rating. This way, the God Rare sect's new disciple exchange this year. He finally had something to play with. Xia Chuan became excited. The ruckus in the crowd grew louder and louder, completely affecting the examination today. If this continued, the exam would be delayed. Xia Chuan muttered, what's happening? And then, Xia Chuan's voice sank, the sound wave was like a wave, instantly spreading outwards, all of you, stop. Buzz. Boom. The sound waves that could be seen with the naked eye rippled out one after another. Moreover, the sound waves were controlled very easily and perfectly. It just happened to avoid the disciples taking the exam. This control was extremely strong. Long Fei couldn't help but be shocked. As the voice fell, the voices on the stage also quieted down. Some people angrily turned around, and upon seeing Xie Chuan, they immediately lowered their heads. Xie Chuan was a very special existence in the outer sect, and not many people dared to offend him. Some said he was a reformer. All kinds of rites. Some people also said that he was the sect master's trusted aide. There were all kinds of discussions, but one thing that was confirmed was his strength, especially his sound wave technique. It was hard to find a second person in the entire God Rare sect. How is that acceptable? For a disciple, is there a need? Xie Chuan said fiercely. You are elders of the God Rare sect, but you are like a shrew, like a 3-year-old child. How do you want the disciples to view you? Xie Chuan walked over to Long Fei's side and said, all of you keep arguing. Do you know what Long Fei is thinking? You only know how to compete. What's the use of competing? Xie Chuan said unhappily. At this time, an elder asked, Brother Long Fei, if you join our alchemy hall, I dare to assure you that from today onwards, you will use the pellets of the alchemy hall for free. It's the same for refining branch. So is the inscription hall. Beast control hall. The spirit channeling hall. Each of the halls threw out olive branches. Using pills for free, what kind of concept was that? This was the first time in the history of the God Rare sect that this had happened. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. He really needed the support of the medicinal pellets. After all, his blue medicine wasn't consumed without limits. He needed the medicinal pellets to back it up. Similarly, he also wanted weapons of unlimited use. Beast Master, Psychic. Long Fei scratched his head and said, about that, you guys are making things difficult for me. How about this, I join your 8 halls. As soon as he finished. This. They were all stunned. Not only them, even the surrounding disciples were also stunned. Not a single disciple had entered the 8 halls at the same time. This was. How was this divided? How would they compete in the future? Which disciple was it exactly? For a moment, the 8 of them looked at each other, not knowing what to say. At this moment, Xie Chuan pondered for a moment, then said, I think that's fine. Everyone looked at him. Long Fei was only speaking casually. He did not expect Xie Chuan to actually agree. Xie Chuan said, the 10 rating gift has limitless potential, and it can bring about great reforms to you. Right now what the God Rare sect needs is reform. The various traditional things in the 8 halls are too old, and need to be innovated before one can walk on their own path in the God Rare sect. I agree with Long Fei's suggestion to join your 8 halls. At this moment. Nonsense. With a loud shake, Ma Fenglei walked out. There were 2 emissaries beside him, and a sneer appeared on his face. Seeing Ma Fenglei, the God Rare sect disciples and elders all shouted in unison, Great Elder. Long Fei slightly lifted his eyes and thought in his heart, he is the great clan elder. Ah. Something's wrong. Golden light emitted from Ma Fenglei's body. It was incomparably dazzling. Just like Golden Man Boss. Ha ha ha. There was actually a boss, and for the first time appearing, it was a boss. Moreover, this boss. Long Fei saw that the name on top of Ma Fenglei's head was actually yellow. What did the yellow name mean? This meant that at any moment, the boss could turn red and attack him. Thinking about how he shouted from Yixian Peak, he thought to himself, seems like I touched his cake, which makes him very unhappy. That's why his name turned yellow. If I can make his name turn red and take the initiative to attack me, then I'll have a chance to kill him. Wanting to fight these. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back. I'm really too King smart, ha ha ha. I just want to ask, who else is there? Immediately. Long Fei said, what nonsense is this? Why can't I join one of the 8 halls? I'm not joining your hall. What right do you have to stop me? There was contempt in his tone. Long Fei laughed. I am a 10 rating gift, an 8 ascendant. You should kneel down and lick me, a super genius like me. Ma Fenglei wanted to deal with Long Fei anyway. When he heard about Long Fei in the left and right envoys, especially that devil sword, he wanted to deal with Long Fei even more. This assessment had caused him to lose a large amount of divine spirit pills, so he definitely could not let it go easily. He was just worrying that he could not find a chance to get angry at Long Fei, but he did not expect that Long Fei would come looking for him. What was this? This is what you call courting death. Ma Fenglei was secretly pleased in his heart. Brat, you're the one who is courting death. And then, Ma Fenglei's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted, how dare a thing that doesn't know his limits speak to me like that? Are you seeking death? Long Fei sneered and said, you want to die? If you have the guts, try touching me. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.